Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. I'm your host, Jason Bland, and tonight joining us is guest Tom Paladino. Scalar Energy is what we're going to talk about. His website is scalarlight.com. If you're not familiar with it, I've learned some of it over the last few days. I've heard of Scalar Energy from just being familiar with Nikola Tesla. Like it's 0-point energy, radiant energy. It's got a lot of different names, but Tom is using it to actually help heal people of pathogens from remotely. And it's going to sound pretty incredible, but if you're familiar with this topic or with the possibilities or open to the mind to it, I think you'll find this conversation really interesting. He's got a 15 free day trial you can sign up for on his site. We'll get into all that. And of course, we got a lot of weird to get to in the World Wide Web of Weird. Now, Tom's only going to join us for an hour tonight. So after the World Wide Web of Weird, we'll have about an hour with him. Then we'll go to our other commercial break. And then we'll open up the phone lines. You guys can call in, and we'll see how long the show goes. We might not go the full 3 hours without a guest going that long, and another solid plan I don't have for later in the show. But we'll see what you guys want to talk about tonight. We will open up the phone lines after Tom's interview. I might open them up a little bit earlier tonight in case you have some questions for Tom. But we got a lot to get to, so let's go ahead and get rolling on into it. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup. As I said before, I'm your host, Jason Bland. Tonight's guest, Tom Paladino, will be joining us after the World Wide Web of Weird to talk about Scalar Energy. And like I said, his website is scalarlight.com. And we'll get to talk to him about his methods and use, so how to remotely heal or cure people or eliminate, I don't know what was allowed to be said, of their ailments, especially if they're pathogens, the viruses and that, with scalar energy. It's an interesting topic, especially you fans of Nikola Tesla. I hope we can get into that, a little bit of that subject too. There's a lot of history there. All right, joining me as always is my beautiful co-host, Jamie D. How you do tonight, Jamie?
Doing well, thank you.
And Jamie will try to stick around as long as she can't hang up tonight. Like I said, we'll do the open lines, we'll do some chat. I don't know, Jamie, I don't know if you think we should do some psychic Zener card games maybe. I don't know. We really don't have a game plan for after the interview, so we'll see what goes on. Joining us as well from St. Augustine, Florida, is Rob Autry himself. How you doing tonight, Rob?
Doing good. I'm hearing some echo. Do you guys hear that, or is it just me?
I hear it now.
I hear it.
I don't know where it comes from.
Huh. I'm going to mute you for a second. Do you hear the echo now? I don't hear it when I mute you, Rob, so it's something from your end. I'm unmuting you. I don't. Yeah, now I hear it.
Yeah. All right.
Mute up for a second. We'll get to you. Rob runs the World Wide Web of Weird, and for you're familiar with the show, he helps me run the videos and pictures, and we got a lot to get to. So let's go ahead and roll into the World Wide Web of Weird. Tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, I thought we'd start out with a continuing story we've been covering since the beginning of it happening, because we've been around for 6 years, and that's about how long this has been going on, at least, is the Havana Syndrome. Havana Syndrome. Do you remember that? Starting in Cuba with diplomats at our embassy feeling like they were being remotely attacked by something, like, not scalar energy, of course not, but something was getting to them. Could have been scalar? I don't know. But this is from Unexplained Mysteries. CIA reports suggest Havana Syndrome is not what it seems. For those listening on the Paranormal Soup radio network, we are a webcast. We stream out live to Facebook and YouTube and even Twitch. We show videos and pictures sometimes, but I will narrate articles as best as possible. Let me get this first one up here. So, CIA reports suggest Havana Syndrome is not what it seems. Mysterious condition which causes a range of symptoms such as fatigue, headaches, and nausea, named after a spate of such instances which began in Havana, Cuba back in 2016. At the time, it was believed that this U.S. diplomats were being targeted by some sort of directed energy weapon by an unknown foreign agents with the goal of disrupting diplomatic ties with the country. Since then, similar symptoms have been experienced by dozens of U.S. personnel in multiple different countries, prompting an ongoing investigation into the phenomenon. While it seemed as though somebody must have been deliberately targeting the victims, the latest findings suggest instead that it's unlikely that any hostile foreign power was involved. Investigators were able to completely rule it out, but in most cases, of which there have been hundreds, alternative conventional explanations were deemed more plausible. Understandably, those impacted by the phenomenon have been somewhat disappointed by the news. The CIA's new issued report may be labeled interim, and it may leave open the door for some alternative explanations in some cases, but into score of dedicated public servants, their families, and their colleagues, it has a ring of finality and repudiation, one support group said in a statement, because there's support groups for people affected by this, like still having problems. We have reason to believe the interim report does not even represent the consensus of the full CIA, instead reflecting the views of a subset of officials most interested in a resolution and closure. They just want to, nothing to see here, people. Move along. Got those type bureaucrats. As things stand, it doesn't seem as though the phenomenon will be sufficiently explained to everyone's satisfaction anytime soon. It's a good point. The scalar energy is remote, right? I'm not saying that's what it was used, but something like that. I don't know. I mean, what's been happening to these people? God knows. Yeah, it's so all over the place. If it was more like specifically just our diplomats, it isn't. It's hit other embassies. I don't know. I mean, somebody playing games. But I can totally see, just like UFOs and all that other stuff, the CIA wants to just brush it under the rug. Nothing to see here, people. Move along. All right, let's move on. All right, on to the Curiosity rover finds possible evidence of life on Mars. Carbon associated with biological processes have been discovered in samples analyzed by the rover. This is unexplainedmysteries.com again. They have the really short, nice articles. It is the news that everyone has been waiting to hear, possible evidence of ancient extraterrestrial life that scientists have speculated could have once thrived on Mars billions of years ago. But don't get too excited just yet, because as always with such discoveries, it's possible to rule out alternative explanations will take further study and possible future missions to know for sure. The excitement surrounds the result of analysis of powdered rock samples carried out by the rover's onboard sample analysis system. The results indicate that the presence of a type of carbon usually indicative of biological processes. We're finding things on Mars that are tantalizingly interesting, but we really need more evidence to say we've identified life, says NASA's Paul Mahaffey. So we're looking at what else could have caused the carbon signature. We're seeing if not life. The key to determining whether or not the carbon is indicative of ancient life will be to take into account the differences between Earth and Mars. The hardest thing is letting go of Earth and letting go of that bias we have of really trying to get into fundamentals of chemistry, physics, and environmental processes of Mars. Excuse me. A lot there, long-winded, but it's the beginning step, I guess, of them confirming that there was maybe ancient life on Mars. I think most people feel like, yeah, we know there's ancient life on Mars. We don't know that for sure. We don't have all the evidence, but I feel it in our deep ancestral guts or past lives that we lived on Mars. I don't know, Kira. I don't know. That's so much. If they said no way there was ever life on Mars, I don't know if I'd still buy it. Just a feeling. All right, let's move on.
We're the only intelligent life in the universe.
Yeah, right. Well, poor universe if that's the case.
Exactly.
I mean, we're still just trying to figure out things on the planet Earth. We have a new unidentified animal who's baffling experts in Pennsylvania up next here. Let me get a sip of coffee. I got this tickle. My throat's killing me. So sorry. You got to hear the gulp and everything. Unidentified animal baffles experts in Pennsylvania. A mysterious animal that resembles some sort of dog or coyote has been discovered in the west of the state. The enigma first presented itself earlier this week when resident Christina Eath noticed an animal outside her home that appeared to be lost and was shivering from the cold weather. First thought was that it was her neighbor's dog. However, on a closer inspection, the animal looked somewhat unusual, so she decided to call wildlife experts for a second opinion. When they examined the animal, they were unable to tell what it was either. It was long before the mystery has ended up on the local TV news. I honestly can't definitely say what it is, but to err on the side of caution since they can carry rabies and since it might be a coyote, we can keep it here, get genetic testing done, and go from there, said wildlife rehabilitation expert Morgan Barron. It could be some time, however, before the results of the testing are known. But they don't know, just off of first-hand seeing what this is. I'm like wondering if it just could be a weird... I mean, we know all the dog mixes, but it could be like several different dog generations... Wild dog,
coyote dog,
or coyote and dog interbreeding. Is that that's possible, right? I mean, it happens.
I reckon.
I think it could be possible. I don't know enough about dogs or animals.
Yeah.
But the fact that they found this thing and they don't know what it is, I think is pretty extraordinary. Most of the time, people get a picture of it and that's it. They caught it. It's chupacabra. No.
Chupacabra. That's it. Jersey Devil.
If somebody got a picture of this thing on its own, they'd be like, it's chupacabra. I don't know. Maybe not in Pennsylvania. I don't know how much chupacabra stuff they got going on there, but it's interesting. We had some weird dogs at an abandoned place out here. It used to be a World War II ammunition place, Kingsbury, and there's some dogs that have like interbred there for so long that they look kind of weird. I don't know. Yeah. All right, let's move on. All right, this next one, I know you people are going to be like, really? This is from the sun.com, sorry. Mama 3 stunned after spotting tooth fairy flying over her roof on Ring doorbell footage. We're going to have a lot of Ring doorbell footage coming up in the years of World Wide Web to come, if there are. Just everybody's got a doorbell, and like I hear people's stories now that I know, seeing stuff on the Ring. Were you watching Raccoon on your Ring door thing? Was that what you were watching it on, the Raccoon? No.
No, I was standing outside with it.
Oh, you're standing outside. You were doing old school. Get a Ring door, and you can get them on camera doing all that cute Raccoony stuff. Right?
I want to be up close and personal.
Well, this next one is, you know what I'm going to say about it, but I'm going to talk about it, and I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not an expert. Sun Mama 3 claims if she spotted the tooth fairy flying over her roof on Ring doorbell. Who's to say it's just not a fairy? Why do you have to say it's the tooth fairy? You got teeth missing? No. Alicia Stoddart, 38, says she captured the magical moment on the doorbell cam after a mysterious flying object triggered its sensor. The 38-year-old is convinced she spotted a fluttering fairy while holidaying at her parents' caravan in Clacton, Essex, with her children. So we're in England here. She says her kids, Millie, 17, and Leah, 11, and Danny, 9, believe it was definitely the mystical tooth nabber visiting them in the night last Sunday. The family were left baffled by the clip that appears to show a tiny wing-wearing figure gliding towards the camera before flying over the roof of the caravan. The mesmerizing footage has left many debating what exactly the mystery object was. I could go on and talk about the debate, but I'll let you debate. Go ahead and play that fairy bean footage.
That beautiful fairy bean footage. It does look fairy-esque.
You know, the tooth fairy is what really did it in for my oldest son for believing in all the Santa Claus, Easter Bunny. He is the tooth fairy. I mean, just once he figured out, he's like, why would they want my teeth? It's creepy. He didn't like the idea, and I think it's led him on to believe that everything is. It looks like a bug. Yes, that's what I think it is. But a big one.
Or it's just close to the lens.
That's what I mean. It got close enough to the lens. It got enough to turn the sensor thing on. I mean, it's odd.
It's an odd shaped like moth or something. But
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it does look fairy-esque, like Rob said, but like I gotta go with the insects.
I love she told her kids tooth fairy.
Where's it keep the dollar bills at?
Yeah, it's got to carry out the dollar bills because inflation.
Dollar bills.
Inflation.
I can't
Dollar bills,
say on
y'all.
Jason's show.
Oh yeah, let's not do that. PG-13. Well, we're flying through these fast. I don't know. I mean, I might be a dick for saying it's a bug. You know, I'm not trying to blow it off. Maybe I don't know, but I think it's a bug.
Looks like an insect.
I know. I gotta be that guy. All right, we'll move on. Next one's more doubt on things, but new study casts doubt on Loch Ness monster being the Plesiosaurus. Or as I say, my son would tell me, Plesiosaurus. What was I saying? He's the dinosaur guy. The famous Scottish Loch Ness monster, often said to be Plesiosaurus, but just how plausible is that? This is from Unexplained Mysteries. Quintessential Loch Ness monster sightings are typically that of a large, long-necked creature that appears as a head and neck or a series of humps protruding from the water. Over the years, this has led some to speculate that the creature could be a Plesiosaurus, if I'm saying that right. I'm sure I'm got it wrong. A type of prehistoric aquatic reptile as depicted by an off-photograph model that can be found outside of Loch Ness Expedition Center. We all know what it looks like. Casting aside for a moment the fact that the Plesiosaurus went extinct millions of years ago, it is possible that the Loch Ness monster could be such a relic from the distant past. According to Dr. Paul Schofield of Canterbury Museum in New Zealand, in a recent study of the Elastomosaurus, if I got that wrong, I'm sure, which is a type of plesiosaur, has indicated that these creatures would have held their heads either at the same level or below the level of their bodies while swimming through the water. So their heads would have been down, not up. That basically, to get the short of this, let me see this is how it goes. The labyrinth of the earwork best when the tiny bones, so they get this from the ear bones, they've studied of these, are able to hang unaffected by gravity. For this reason, the position of the inner ear within the skull of an animal reveals a lot about how an animal habitually holds its head. We've examined the inner ear of the Elastomosaurus and determined that the resting position was the head horizontal to the body or even well below the body. The traditional posture shown in many popular articles on Nessie, like a sock puppet, I love to put that there, like a sock puppet, is nothing. Is not something Elastomosaurus were in the habit of adopting. The idea of it lifting its head up like a sock puppet extremely unlikely, but it could be something similar to that species that has a different working of its ear, and it does the opposite, puts its head up. I don't know. I mean, there's so many species that we don't even have fossil records of that we haven't discovered yet, I'm sure. But I just saw another researcher recently put out stuff on Loch Ness that he believes it's more like an eel, which makes it that makes it creepy. I don't. Eels are close enough to snakes. I don't like eels. Scare me. Like I don't want to fall in the tank of electrified eels, or anything eel-like. They're just they're like snakes of the water.
See, yeah, I like
that's that. I know you like. I like snakes, man.
I like snakes, man, but eels and like pulling.
Yeah, you're an ocean guy.
I don't know. They creep me out.
I like to go scuba diving and feed the morays and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, is the Loch Ness monster this extinct dinosaur, the plesiosaur, or a version of it? I don't know.
I think it could still be alive down. I mean, I think it's very plausible that it exists and it's still in the depths somewhere. We're constantly finding new animals all the time in the depths.
Yeah.
Well, university, I mean, the academia still are against it because, I mean, they fired a well-known professor, for basically saying you believe that the Loch Ness was real. I mean, obviously, I have to say, on the skeptic side, they have not found it with all the technology and years of research. And I mean, there's been a lot of people put money into this. We have not found it. Just like Bigfoot. I know. I don't know. Maybe one day. Maybe
With
never.
all the weird dinosaurs, all the weird stuff that they keep discovering, I just can't rule it out.
But look, we just discovered this week a animal we can't even identify in Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
And the
So
place,
you never know.
the place of least, search or whatever you want to call it, is the ocean. And the water. I mean, there's tons of unexplored.
And if you
area.
get into the whole, like, is there underground water tunnels for these things to be traveling through and all this? Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Just to know there's a sign of end times. More. I know I cover these weird people sometimes, and I you know what? To each their own, and more power to this woman for doing what she wants to do. But I find it interesting. Woman marries the color pink in historic ceremony. Ruining marriage. No, I don't care. You want to marry the color pink, you go marry the color pink. Unable to find the perfect human partner, which I don't blame her. Kitten K. Sierra decided to marry the color pink instead. Over the years, we've heard of people marrying everything from dogs to bridges. Yes, we've heard it here on the World Wide Web of Weird for sure. But we've never heard of anyone who has resorted to tying the knot with a literal color. Kitty K. Sierra, who maintains that she has been in a relationship with the color pink for over 40 years. See, didn't we have somebody with the color yellow and marry the color yellow? Didn't we have that? I'm going to have to go back and look, because I could have swore this woman's not the first. Somebody married yellow. She just got pink. I got married to it during an intimate Las Vegas wedding ceremony on January 1st. See, Las Vegas, you can marry anybody. Unsurprisingly, everything at the wedding was pink, including the bride's gown, the car, the guests, the venue, the wedding cake, and just about everything else. While not everyone has supported her decision to marry the color pink, Sierra maintains that people should always do what they want to do, regardless of what anyone else thinks. I don't disagree with that. I don't. You feel comfortable marrying the color pink, you do that.
Yeah.
Screw everybody else. She says, "Have fun with it. Have a ball." She said, "You're only you're only here for a little bit of time. Have a blast." I don't disagree with that either.
But what happens like this right now? Am I like cheating on her husband with pink since I've got pink here with me?
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's better. I honestly think it's better for her to marry the color pink than the guy who married the sex doll. That one makes me more sad for many reasons. And then he moved on to a vacuum accessory. I don't know. I don't know.
But start with the vacuum accessory.
But it's a sign of the end of the times. And just to end it off, this is from the Futurism or Byte, but I got unexplained mystery article here to kind of cover it shorter, but is Jeff Bezos' new startup company aims to cheat death. So you can marry pink, and if you're a billionaire, you can be immortal. You've already made fun of the man for building his penis rocket. Now he's going to try to cheat death. How more bloated, rich, narcissistic can he get, right? Billionaire entrepreneur is channeling his money into an attempt to develop an immortality technology. They had that show, Upload, on Amazon Prime, by the way. You should check out. Because it's all about cheating death in that, and there's consequences. Mankind has been obsessed with gaining immortality for 1,000 years, but even despite this incredible advances in science and medicine achieved over the last few centuries, our species still remains just as vulnerable to aging process as our ancestors were millions of years ago. This could soon be set to change, however, with a growing number of wealthy businessmen funding scientific endeavors aimed at reversing the aging process and eliminating all diseases. Latest entrepreneur to get into the action is Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, who, not content with sending tourists into space, is now looking to find a way to live forever as well. His new startup company, Alto Labs, formally launched this week, is headed up by Hal Barron, the former chief scientific officer at GlaxoSmithKline. I'm deeply honored to have been offered this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to lead such a unique company with a transformative mission to reverse disease, he said. Bezos has also recruited top two Nobel Peace Prize winners, Dr. Shinya Yamanaka and Jennifer Doudna. In his quest for immortality, he has revealed that the firm has already secured $3 billion in funding. $3 billion. Whether or not it will ultimately succeed in its mission, however, remains to be unseen. I think there's probably a number of billionaires out there drinking the blood of virgins and doing whatever they can to try to stay alive longer. I don't know. Selling their soul. I don't know. Get in line, Jeff Bezos.
Why does Bezos and Facebook guy and even Elon, why are they all kind of strange looking? Just I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have belly buttons. No, I did see Bezos with the shirt off the other day, and he did have a belly button.
Was it scary? I bet it was.
No, actually, he's in pretty good shape.
Figures. He can pay to be. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I'm not saying that to try to cure disease. That's great. I hope it succeeds and finds a way to make people live longer, give people better, richer, fuller lives. But in the end, I have a feeling it's going to turn out into something like upload. Like, okay, we can't keep you alive forever, so let's put your brain in a, computer simulation. That's what it's going to turn into.
They're
Watch Upload.
already prepping it in Arizona. You can already
I mean, look
pay.
at these guys are so behind the transhuman movement. Elon Musk, who I can love him at times and hate him at times, they're all into the transhuman. Let's put chips in our brains. Let's, upload ourselves to the matrix, basically.
And you
That's
can
what I'm
pay
afraid of.
to be in a pod in Arizona, freeze either your head, your whole
Well, that's
body.
been going on for a long
They're
time. That's been going on
saving
for
the
a
brain
long
parts.
time.
They're already sending the vials up to space.
I mean, they've been freezing people for a long time. The question of that is how they, actually bring it back.
But
I don't think they've
they're
ever figured that
bringing
out.
the vials and everything up to space now.
See, once they figure, I mean, the question is, with Upload, I watched. If anybody's watched that, call in tonight. We'll talk. We're going to have open lines after our guest here. If you've seen that, they upload people to this virtual. I mean, not virtual. I mean, it's their consciousness. Supposedly, I guess their consciousness is in this AI or this virtual reality matrix, basically. And of course, you have to pay for things while you're there.
That's what the
It's not free.
metaverse is, though. That's
Right.
not what
See,
the
well,
metaverse.
yeah, exactly. You get where I'm going. And that's what I'm afraid these people are going to try to move us into. And if you watch Upload, it's a warning against it, I think. But it's also the writers in sci-fi hear these mad scientist people and they're like, yeah, that'd make a good story. But I think it's a warning not to do it, and it could be a nightmare in hell. Let's move on to the next plane, not get stuck there. But my other question is, are you just a copy? Because a lot of this stuff I see, I'm like, well, that's not you. That's just a copy. It's it could be
Like the
have all your
clone
personality
sheep.
traits. Yeah, I mean, or a clone of you. That's like a copy. It's not you. I don't know. The thing is, what the immortality of putting somebody's conscious in a computer, I don't see that happening.
It
I don't
makes me think of like Surrogate too. That movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only way I see it is if they like actually hook you up, your body, and keep it maintained and alive in some gel-like thing in the Matrix. Which, yes, I saw the new Matrix, so I keep mentioning it. Give it a C-.
I could go
All right,
for
guys.
a premiere now.
We got to go to commercial break. Our guest is Tom Paladino. He's going to be joining us when we come back to talk about scalar energy, healing you remotely, basically, with this 0-point energy, radiant energy. It's got a lot of different names. Glad to have Tom on for the first time to talk about this. And he's only on for an hour, and then after that, we will open up the phone lines for open lines. We'll see how late we go with open lines. It depends on you guys, how many of you guys want to call in and talk. Have you seen Upload? What do you think? Would you upload yourself to a virtual afterlife? That's a question for the night. Would you do it? Think about that. Talk about yourselves. Drink your coffee, right? We'll be back after a short commercial break.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hopsey Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Of the second kind, physical evidence of a UFO. Close encounters of the third kind, contact. From Steven Spielberg, the director of Jaws, comes one of the most ambitious and unusual films ever made. And what you will see has never been seen before. It's a cosmic mystery crossing what many scientists believe will be the next threshold of human experience. It is called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It begins in an Indiana town and leads to one inescapable conclusion. We are not alone. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Certificate A. Now showing at the Odeon, Leicester Square.
The international chart-topping, Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest has been described as terrifyingly real, a must-read, shocking and chilling brilliance, genuinely worrying, utterly frightening. Don't read before bed. Described as one of the spookiest writers out there, best-selling author G.L. Davies presents Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest. The true paranormal account that is shocking the world. Dare you enter? Dare you read? Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, and wherever books are sold. Pray you never have to live there.
This is the sound of a space clock aboard a U.S. satellite 180 miles above the Earth. No one winds up this timepiece. It's powered by a tiny battery, a battery that delivers power for years without replacement. Now the same type of battery, the Duracell battery, can bring new reliability and long life to your battery-operated equipment. Radios, cameras, toys, all run far longer. Duracell batteries, the long-distance power cells, outlast any ordinary battery. The same type of battery that keeps space clocks running for years can bring long life to anything powered by batteries. Dura, as in durable. Cell, as in power cell. The Duracell battery, made by Mallory.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Switch to DCS ranging.
240, nominal to profile.
We're in the pipe. 5 by 5.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is Tom Paladino. Tom began research with Scalar energy during his undergraduate years, inspired by various scientists, especially Nikola Tesla, the genius who invented alternating current. He was curious to learn more about the existence of an energy that was not of the electromagnetic spectrum. He pursued a course of independent study in order to better understand and subsequently harness scalar energy, as this emerging science is not taught at the university level. One of his scientific professors was T. Galen Hieronymus, I probably butchered that, a resident of Georgia and one of the few scalar energy researchers in the United States in the last century. After Galen's death, Tom was given access to the researcher's notes and his instruments, leading him to theorize that all energy in the universe initiates at scalar energy. Scalar energy provides order in the universe. Based on these theories, Tom was able to develop scalar energy instruments capable of harnessing and transmitting instructive energy to heal human subjects remotely. This is Scalar Energies, my first guest I've had on this subject. His website is www.scalarlight.com. He has a 15-day free trial of this therapy that he can do for you. And we're going to get into that tonight. We only have time for an hour tonight, and I might open up the phone lines just towards the end of our interview if anybody wants to call in with a question or two. But after that, we'll do open lines. We got a lot to get to, so let's go ahead and get rolling on into it. All right, I believe, yes, we do have our guests. Let me add them to the stream. How you doing tonight, Tom?
I am well. Hello, Jason. Good evening.
Hi. Welcome to the show for the first time. It's an honor to have you on. I'm a person interested in science, but I am not smart enough for it. So I always feel. But Nikola Tesla is somebody who's always fascinated me. So when I was presented with you as a guest to talk about your ability to use or your instruments for scalar energy, I was like, ooh, I want to know more because it's a fascinating subject, but you can't find a lot on it.
You're right. You're right. It's suppressed, frankly.
Right.
Tesla technology, scalar energy, Tesla technology suppressed. And it's such a shame. It's a technology that will change the world, and it is, but it's not recognized by academia. It's been undermined for the past 100 years. You're right.
I mean, if people know their Tesla history of like Wardenclyffe. Sorry, I'm trying to get my phone line working here. Is not. Oh, technical problems, people. Sorry. Wardenclyffe, where he tried to build the big tower, which he had said it was for radio, but was a lot more he had planned with that. And J.P. Morgan found out part of that was free energy and was like, yeah, no. I'm not going to do that, buddy. And blackballed him, ruined his life. Pretty much, worst he could do to Nikola Tesla is just basically he ended up a pauper by the time he died. And this man invented like everything you're using today could probably be tied back to Tesla when it's technology.
You're right. And that's an accurate account. Wardenclyffe, that was a tower in Long Island, New York. Tesla erected a free energy tower. And if you inspect that tower, at that time it was out in the country, it's nowhere near any power source or any power plant. So the tower captured scalar energy, star energy, the energy of the stars, the energy of the sun. It was a free energy device. And yes, Tesla was about to change the world with that free energy tower. As you referred, J.P. Morgan did not like that. J.P. Morgan wanted to make money off of people. He did not want to see the liberation of mankind. So,
I think his quote was, "If I can't put a meter on it, I'm not doing it."
Yeah,
something
exactly.
along those lines.
These are diabolical people. J.P. Morgan, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and their only goal is simply to enslave mankind. It's a parasitic philosophy that they have. What a shame.
Now, for you, how did you discover scalar energy? What sent you down this? I really a rabbit hole, because when you get into Nikola Tesla, scalar energy, 0 point energy, radiant energy, when you get into this, you're talking. I talk on the show all the time that religiously, I believe a lot of things. I mean, I believe in Jesus, I believe in Buddha. I believe in a lot of things. But one of the things I always say is I believe in the Force. I'm a Star Wars fan, yes, but one of the reasons I've always been fascinated with the 0 point energy, scalar energy, especially how you're using it, is that we could be talking about the very thing I believe in, the Force.
Yes, it is the Force. It's the omnipresence of the universe. Some people, a Christian would say it's the I am, the omnipresence of God. Others might say it's the matrix or the blanket of the universe. So when we speak about this force, it's everywhere. It transcends time and space. It is ubiquitous. And with that thought in mind, it's much more than a stream of electrons. This is not electricity. So
Right.
once we tap into this, we're tapping into a dimension in which all action is instantaneous. And you're really tapping into the mind of God or the intelligence of the universe. It's phenomenal what this energy spectrum can do.
What I always loved about Tesla, and he tapped in. I've always felt Tesla was somebody. We get people born here that are divine, in a sense, and maybe he definitely had his social issues, but there was something incredible about Tesla. He saw flashes of light. He would get information in these
Yes.
flashes. He never drew out his blueprints. He could visually see it all. And I am not a math guy. That's like my worst subject. And I'm jealous of everybody who's good at math. But I always find it fascinating, the 369. His fascination with 369, about how everything in fractals, in creation, in the universe, everything mathematically revolves around this 369.
Yes. Yeah. And let's speak to that point. Tesla did have flashes of light. And in his own words, he said at night, he would lay in bed, could not sleep, and God would show him the plans of an invention. I call that an intellectual vision, whereby he would not have to go to the laboratory. He would not have to draw anything on paper, schematics. He would not have to experiment. This was an afflatus. This was the word of knowledge, so to speak, which would allow him to see an invention and then simply build that invention. Now, that's a divine connection as far as I'm concerned. That's
Right.
That's a divine, call it a download, call it an afflatus, call it divine inspiration. And if you look at his career, so prolific, he created hundreds of instruments, hundreds of different type of instruments, initially controlling AC electricity, and then later in his life controlling scalar energy. His career was so prolific. How did he do that? He had divine help.
There's a number of people through history, and if you look at the way inventions work, it's really fascinating. Like The Men Who Built America is a great Netflix or History Channel docuseries they had back in the day. There's some stuff in there like Tesla and Edison with them fighting over DC and AC. It's really interesting, that kind of feud. But it seems like Tesla mastered electromagnetic energy. He got that down, and he discovered that there's something else. There's something way beyond that. I don't know if you talk about divine download. There's other people in history that have experienced the same things.
Yes.
That had these flashes of lights. I mean, even Einstein had his dream walks he would do. There's an Indian mathematician, idiot savant, never taught math at all, and knew calculus. Can't remember his name. He would see flashes of light. All these geniuses, they're what I believe uploading or downloading from information that's all theirs in that supreme consciousness, or what do you want to call it, universal consciousness.
Right. Exactly. And because of that, we benefit as mankind. Let's face it, if you look at any invention or any technology, you start from ground zero, so to speak. And how do you do this? How do you create something? How do you discover something? So it has to be a gift from the divine. Tesla always acknowledged that.
Yeah.
And again, if you look at his career, nobody can match him. I mean,
No.
He had hundreds of inventions. What one individual is responsible for hundreds of inventions that even today boggle the mind? When Tesla died, the federal government, as a criminal syndicate, the federal government raided his laboratory.
Yep.
And confiscated all of his inventions and his notes. Why? Well, they knew that his work was so advanced that they wanted access to that. They wanted to stop this, if you will, this liberation of mankind by way of these inventions. So we're trying to retrace the steps of Tesla. And in some small measure, I've done that. And what I have is going to prove to be very beneficial to mankind.
Well, back then it was definitely a fear. If he had discovered a way to have free energy, that would destroy the whole economy.
Yeah.
That these guys had built. But now, if what you're doing is true, there's a whole medical economy, economy built on our illness and sickness. And if you removed a lot of that, there'd be billions of dollars lost.
I'm gonna repeat that. That's prophetic, and that will happen. I have developed scalar energy instruments that can improve what we call quantum health. It will have an impact upon the medical industry, and billions of dollars are at play. Billions of dollars are at play.
How long have you been doing this, Tom?
My life. Yeah, I've been researching for 50 years, ever since I was a youngster. I started to read Tesla as a youngster, and thank God I had the aptitude for it. I had the aptitude to accept what he was doing and understand what he was doing. When I heard he was tapping into radiant energy, that's the term he used, I knew that was free energy. It wasn't from a power plant. And if you look closely at his work later in his life, Tesla was indeed tapping into the stars. Now, can you imagine that?
Yeah.
We won't have an energy crisis anymore. The stars offer an infinite supply of energy, scalar energy, radiant energy. So thank God I had the aptitude for that.
You got to know the government's hired the best men to repurpose whatever they had confiscated at his death. Do you think our government's really tapped into this scalar energy and are using it for their own nefarious purposes?
If the government confiscated his scalar energy instruments at his New York apartment, then yes. Yes, because
I mean, scalar energy. I want to get into it. We don't have a lot of time with you, but I do want to get into try to explain to people a little bit what it is. I am not the smart enough person to do that, but we're talking about something not on you talk about it on a health level, but you can do remotely to people instantly.
Yes.
Yeah, but scalar on a whole, if we could tap into this, you're talking a lot of different things: free energy, anti-gravity. Yes, exactly. You're talking about the whole Trek. The whole Star Trek.
Exactly. For instance, you mentioned anti-gravity. There's a Russian scientist, Viktor Grebenikov, who built scalar energy flying platforms.
Yes.
And he could overcome gravity. And with these flying platforms, he could travel at hundreds of miles an hour without experiencing any G-force. And where was the propulsion coming from? From scalar energy. It wasn't a combustion engine. He simply overcame gravity, and in so doing, he had a scalar energy anti-gravity platform. There's photographs of this Russian scientist, Grebenikov, and it was well detailed what he was doing. Now, this is only 25, 30 years ago. But have you seen that come to the knowledge of the general public? Of course not.
But we've been seeing big flying ships in the sky. I saw one when I was 16. I mean, I was like, how is that even up in the air? It was so huge. This would be it. I mean,
yes, it is.
One, you talk about the flight paths of UFOs and the way they fly around. If somebody was inside, the G-forces would kill them. They'd be mush. So they have to have some kind of warp bubble or scalar energy, phasic kind of a vehicle that's not within the existence of time-space, or it has its own fundamental space-time to not be affected by gravity and the outside motion.
Yeah, exactly. This is what Viktor Grebenikov experienced on his scalar energy anti-gravity platform. He could accelerate at hundreds of miles an hour, never experienced any G-forces. His shirt was not ruffled. While he was on this anti-gravity platform, he discovered that his wristwatch, the time would not advance on his wristwatch. Why? Well, he was outside of time. He transcended time. So time was suspended, so to speak, during these scalar light travels. This has all been established. This has now become common knowledge. So yes, when you're in that local environment of scalar energy, you can transcend time and space. Yes, you can accelerate and deaccelerate rather quickly. And it all calls to mind, you're no longer in an electromagnetic environment. Scalar energy is a different physics. It's a different chapter or a different textbook on physics. And you have to really isolate on that fact.
Now, you received, or I mean, we're able to look at the notes of I get the last name wrong. Galen
Hieronymus. Galen
Hieronymus.
Hieronymus was a U.S. scalar energy researcher, one of the few. Now, I will offer this to the audience. There's very few bona fide scalar energy researchers. How do I know? Well, look at their instruments. If somebody can develop and perfect a scalar energy instrument, then they're a scalar energy expert. Very few men, very few scientists have ever been able to build scalar energy instruments. Galen Hieronymus was one of the few. And I never met him, but I met his family. And actually, his wife took me on an understudy. Her name was Sarah Hieronymus. And I could purchase, back in the 90s now, scalar energy instruments. And that understudy proved to be really pivotal in my career. The fact that I could look at these scalar energy instruments that Galen Hieronymus developed and work with them, that was a godsend.
What are these instruments like? What were Galen's like, and what are yours based off of? Like, how does it work?
You know, his instruments were rather, I would say, small and
like table
almost
size,
primitive. You know,
yeah.
If I had to draw, perhaps it would weigh maybe 10 pounds, and you could hold it in the palm of your hand. Today, my instruments are much stronger. They're much more elaborate. They're able to capture that scalar wave and magnify it to a greater extent. But nonetheless, he set the tone. Well, after I purchased his instruments, I, if you will, back engineered it in some way. And I just increased the power 100-fold. And in so doing, I'm getting incredible results.
Yeah, I'm like, my brain's trying to like concept what I've seen some devices claim to be scalar energy devices,
right.
And I am not scientific enough or mechanical enough to know if they have one or not. But is it basically, I mean, drawing energy then from the scalar
Yes,
energy? You know,
yes.
so there's no wire, or there's no battery in it, there's no electricity in it.
What I've discovered with Galen's specific instruments, he was able to convert electricity into scalar, or scalar into electricity. So most of Galen's devices relied upon AC current that could be converted into a scalar wave.
Is this by like basically, if I understand it right, it's by taking two waves and synchronizing them? Like,
yes, I'm going to make this very clear. All energy initiates as scalar energy as a double helix, and then when that double helix breaks down, it breaks down into two components, electricity and magnetism. So that is the conversion.
So it's like you're putting it back together. You're like,
yes, very good. So
I'm trying to understand this. Sorry.
No, it's brilliant of you. Very good. The double helix, a scalar wave, is the initial energy of the universe. When you break down that double helix, you have electricity and magnetism. Now, if you reform or reconstruct the electricity and magnetism, you can once again reshape it, reform it into the double helix. And this has always been observed in nature. Scalar will convert into electricity. Electricity will likewise convert into scalar. It's bidirectional. Well, that leads one to say that it's that one energy is the form or subset of the other. In other words, scalar energy is the initial energy, and the subset, the derivative, is electricity and magnetism. Now that should be rather apparent, and sadly, the scientific community just doesn't get that.
Now, how is it that your instrument? And was Galen doing the same thing as you, or to remotely heal people, or is he just? He was.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I want to make this clear to the audience.
Yeah.
When I work with people or animals, I work by way of their photograph.
Right.
People will send me a photograph. I'll actually place the photograph of a person inside the instrument. A photograph of a person. Now, with that in mind, I don't work with people. I work with force fields. When I have a photograph of a person, the instrument can pick up the energy code or the energy signature on somebody's photograph and then send energy to that dimension, to that force field. So this makes things so simple and easy. Again, these are free energy devices, and we work with people around the world by way of their energy signature. Nobody comes to my laboratory I can work with millions of people by way of their photograph, by their force field on their photograph. Today in my laboratory, I worked with probably 250,000 people. I have 250,000 photographs of people from around the world. So consider how far we've come this far. On any given day, I could easily work with 250,000, 500,000 people by way of their photograph.
So people, people will be like, "Oh, photograph. What does that do?" Or whatever. I had an experience. Like I said, I believe in the force. You could say. I had an experience where I held a picture of somebody who had been deceased, and it was not trying to. And I've talked about it on the show. I know you people have heard it, the story, but I knew everything about this deceased person. I knew their first name, even though I shouldn't. I knew pretty much their last name. I had the pretty much close pronunciation, and I knew they were alcoholic. I knew that they hid stuff in the house. I did all this, like, it was like an information download from holding their picture. And I've always been fascinated since then with, because you look back in the early days of photography, there was people who feared that, it'll capture my soul. Well, in a sense, it might. And then you get in the idea of holographic universe, and you talk about signatures. So is this like our photo of any photo of a person at any time is carrying a signature? It's very similar to what, if you make a voodoo doll, you need a piece of their hair to like lock onto that signature to focus on, It's along those same concepts.
Precisely. And you hit the nail on the head once again. The universe is holographic. Now it has to be. If I can access a person by way of their photograph, that means the universe is pre-connected by radiant energy. This is what Tesla discovered. Radiant energy, scalar energy, pre-connects everything in the universe. So you don't have to build a power grid because the power grid already exists. What do I mean? If you look at electromagnetic energy, you're working with a flow of electrons, an electrical current. So you need a power plant, you need substations, you need wires. You have to distribute that power load, so to speak. Scalar energy, the power is everywhere. So
it's
you
instant.
don't need a grid system.
Well, it's instant. Because it's not actually a wave. It's you talk about electromagnetic spectrum. Everything's in these different wave frequencies have to travel from point A to point B. But if the theory of scalar, if I understand it, is it's 0 point energy, there is no A or B. It's boom, it's there. It's like Newton's cradle. You knock one, the other one knocks on the end instantly.
Exactly. It's instantaneous communication. It's everywhere. And you're right. There's no point A and point B. Well, if there was a point A and a point B, then we'd have to have this spatial consideration. But there is no point A and point B. Everything is one point, meaning it's instantaneous communication. This is what Tesla saw. And later in his life, Tesla said, he's no longer interested in electricity. Right. Because scalar energy is the energy to work with.
See, what I've been fascinated with Tesla, like I brought earlier, I said about the 369, what he observed in everything in reality, everything around him. He was obsessed with, like, everything had to be divisible by 3, and like he had a lot of personality quirks. The man was having hallucinogenic episodes. He was out in a different realm than your normal human, but he could notice these patterns in everything. The 369, basically, everything is 248 or 245871, right? Like everything replicates in this way in mathematics, and 369 are the keys. Like I said, I am not the genius to explain all that, but I find it fascinating because what it's saying. If you talk about a holographic universe, you break a hologram up. You have every little piece of that hologram in every little broken piece. Like you have the whole picture in every little broken piece, and that everything's built in this fractal way in the universe. That the universe has to be coded. That's why a lot of people say we're living in a simulation. It's the Matrix because of this idea that everything's based on just mathematically this sense. So it's like he was already seeing how the scalar energy, the force, is building reality.
Yes. Exactly. So this energy, this intelligence dictates reality. So scalar energy is the intelligence of the universe, the cause, and the effect is what we see in nature. Here's an example. A scalar wave is a double helix, and it has a major groove and a minor groove. The major groove is 1.618 times the length of the minor groove, which is the phi ratio, 1.618. So embodied in every scalar wave is the phi principle, the divine proportion, the golden mean, or the Fibonacci sequence.
Yes.
So when we see the Fibonacci sequence in the universe, that's the effect. That's the result. What is the cause? The cause is a scalar wave in which the Fibonacci sequence, or the divine proportion, 1.618, that transcendent number, is embodied in that double helix. Now, this is so apparent. This is elementary. And I think the world is starting to understand this. So scalar energy is the underlying cause of the Fibonacci sequence.
It's basically the will, the force that moves the universe. It's moves and binds, and like I said, I'm into Star Wars, but that's what I always think when I get into the scalar energy, 0 point energy. When you're talking about this, is literally because what I always tell people, I believe in a higher power, but my idea isn't a God on a throne. Mine is this universal consciousness, this where everything emanates from, the dreamer that's dreaming this dream. I don't know what you want to call it. I don't have any names for it besides calling it the force, but it's powering everything. This would be the ultimate sea of power, I think, is what, or be a sea of billions of jolts, or whatever you want to Tesla describe it, but the void that we can pull, literally a vastness of energy, because it's creating everything.
Yes. Tesla once said that he wanted to attach the will work to this force, and he said, if it's static, then our hopes are dashed. But if it's kinetic energy, and it is, which is scalar energy, he said, this will power all of our instruments in the future. And that's where he was going. Now, here's the key. When Tesla started with electricity, he had to depend on an armature, right? Or a turbine, or some type of motion.
Steam power.
Yeah, some type of rotor, okay?
Yeah.
Now, with scalar energy, you don't need an armature, a turbine, a pulley system. All you have to do is tap into the perpetual energy of scalar energy.
Is it like having
that's the rotor? That's the motor. Scalar energy.
Do you have to have some kind of like capacitor to draw it in? Like, how does that work?
I use a capacitor that, if you will capture the energy and then establish it in that double helix form, and then I propagate that through 2 Tesla coils. So a capacitor is necessary. Okay. Yes.
So walk me through the steps. So, like, if somebody sends you a picture, do you ask for like what are the issues you're trying to resolve?
No, because I have standardized sessions. For instance, again, today I work with photographs of people from around the world.
Right.
I can miniaturize the photograph and I can put them on a collage form.
So you got a bunch of
people. I work with 250,000
Do individual will take you a long time, right?
There you go. Thank you. So I work with
gotcha.
250,000 people today by way of a photograph. So I have standardized my sessions. And one of the standardized sessions, I can perform 3 functions. I'm able to eradicate viruses, bacteria. We can actually negate the molecular bonds of pathogens. We can, if you will, find or detect a pathogen on my photograph and destroy it, disassemble it. We can balance the chakras and we can create nutrients. So it's a microbial cleanse, the chakra balance, the mind balance, and then the ability to create a micronutrient. Those are the 3 sessions that we offer as a test, as a trial on our website.
So, like creating micronutrients, you mean like vitamins in people's system, like
And how do I do that?
Without them taking it.
Very good. Instead of taking a vitamin, we create a vitamin. Very good. So we send intelligence into the quantum body. Everybody has elements or proteins, and we simply rearrange those elements into, say, vitamin A or the B complex vitamins. So we're taking the existing elements of the body and simply rearranging them.
So again, a Star Trek fan as well, like a replicator, basically rearranging molecules to make you a banana cream pie or something.
Yeah, we've seen in Star Trek how you can materialize and dematerialize. Is that possible? Of course it is. How do you do that? With intelligence. What type of intelligence? Scalar energy intelligence.
Yeah, I think it'd be more like the Q in Star Trek, if you're familiar with that, where they can literally materialize anything. because they obviously have tapped into scalar energy in their universe big time.
Yes.
But I guess the theory behind scalar is it has all information, everything that's created, everything before and after, beginning and end, everything's there. Every little bit of the universe is there, and everything you could draw from it and create from it, right? You could literally make things materialize if you could tap into it.
Exactly. Now, imagine what that will do. We no longer then will have shortage, scarcity. We can create water. I create vitamins on a daily basis. We can create any element or any molecule that we want. So that, if you will, puts an end to the military-industrial complex. Instead of drilling for oil, we don't need oil. We have free energy. If we want to create something, we just create it by way of scalar energy.
So the process of the healing that you do with this is you have these pictures of people. You're putting it into a device. What does it do?
Yes,
like it scans it, or
if I can share, I might bring up one of my photographs of the device. I want to see.
I would love to see. Oh, that's the wrong guy. I want to get this guy. There we go. Yeah, I got you up so we can see it.
Let's see if I can. Can you see
There's
that?
a share screen. I don't see anything yet. I just see you.
Yeah. No. Hang on. No.
There is a share screen thing on StreamYard. I don't know if it lets you do it or not.
Yeah, I can't get into it. And anyway,
okay.
long story short, I'm able to place, if you will, millions of photographs into this instrument. And this instrument will allow me to access the force field of these people. So I break apart, I disassemble toxins and pathogens. We have a great track record. Anytime, say, somebody approaches us and they have herpes, we're able to break apart the herpes virus. Now, I can prove that on a photograph, but at the end of the day, people have to send a testimony, and invariably they do. Yeah. And everybody that we've ever worked on, if they had herpes, after we work with their photograph, they tell us they no longer have herpes. It's gone.
Yeah. Well, are you how are you telling the system to say remove herpes from this person, or how does it? I mean, there's an intelligence there, obviously.
I'll explain. It's so simple. Yeah. This is a photograph, a magnified photograph of herpes, and I actually placed this photograph inside the instrument next to a person's photograph. Okay, remember, we're sharing information. It's simply a download of information. So the download of information from the herpes photograph goes into my photograph.
So the two photographs are both in the system together?
I'm sorry?
So you're putting the two photographs into your system together?
Simultaneously, yes.
Okay.
So the information from herpes shares to my photograph instantaneously. And that's all that it takes to break down, to identify and break down the herpes virus.
Okay. So, I mean, you get testimonials, you get people that come back to you. Tell us a little bit about what some of the things you've done, with the viruses you've helped get rid of on people.
Approximately 2 months ago, now we have to rely upon testimonies because, again, I never work with people. I work with their photographs. So the testimony or the account from the person is the key. 2 months ago, I received a report from people in Tanzania. I had been working with them for a few years. I started working with an HIV/AIDS clinic late in 2017. And people from Tanzania, hundreds of people would send us photographs. They had HIV. And because of the pandemic, we lost communication with them. But now they've once again are starting to communicate with us and connecting. And they are accounting that they no longer have HIV. So everybody that I work with in Tanzania that had HIV back in 2017. Now, everybody has told me they no longer have HIV. If they had a PCR test, the PCR test is negative. Everybody is returned to work. Everybody's healthy. Nobody's on any antiviral drugs. And they're saying that they're living a robust lifestyle. Now, I hold to that testimony. Those people are speaking the truth. This should be headline news.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get this out there, but obviously there are some powers out there that don't want this this good news of HIV infection to be.
Yeah, you ever seen the prices for HIV drugs?
Exactly.
You know?
It's about, with so many people, it's about money and power.
It is a lot of people involved when you get into the pharmaceutical industry. It's all about that. So, like Scalar Energy, just like back in the day with free energy, it's the same deal. It's the same people, same corporations. Now it's pharmaceutical telling you, no, we're not going to do that.
Right. Isn't it amazing? I mean, at the suffering of millions of people around the world, something so easy, so straightforward, scalar energy technology. And I thank you, by the way, all of you for this platform tonight. Okay, what I've said is true and accurate. This should be headline news. Will it be headline news tomorrow morning? We'll see. I doubt it.
It won't, because, I mean, the reason being, I mean, I'll just plainly say.
There's no money in it.
There you go.
Well, there's no money.
Made.
Yeah. If I'm going to just heal you with your photograph, that's all I need. Well, but you do charge. So you have a 15-day free trial. Right. But after that, people do end up paying. What is the rate, or what do they pay for these treatments?
It's $89 a month.
$89 a month. So if they go on, like, it's like a subscription plan, whatever, you're
Correct.
constantly putting their photo in your machine.
Correct.
And giving them, basically keeping them healthy with it, or I mean.
Yeah, but we always want to treat people for free to start, but we want them to experience this session. And those who can afford, we ask them to make a payment of $89 a month. I will say that at least 99.9% of the people in the world that we've treated thus far, we've treated for free.
I was going to say, I know those people in Tanzania are not paying you $89 a month. No way. They can't afford medicine.
99% of the people in the world we treat for free. And that's my goal, is to treat the world for free. Why do I charge? Well, I have to pay some bills. That's why.
I got that. And you have equipment, you have, to maintain, right? I mean, the
overhead is tremendous. The more we grow, I've told people this before, and I don't mean to be condescending. We're going to be a global healing ministry. We will be the Walmart of healing. We'll be the Amazon.
Don't tie your name to Walmart in any such way.
Well,
I don't recommend that. But I get you.
We will be a global healing ministry.
Oh, I get that.
May I ask something? Because we have Kim in chat who suffers from chronic Lyme disease.
No,
are you able to treat chronic things like that? And is that something that would require a certain amount of sessions, or?
Tell her to sign up for the 15-day free session. We have the ability on a person's photograph to identify the Lyme spirochete and destroy it.
I mean, what can you lose? 15 days, take the free trial, and if you honestly feel different, and it's more than because what people are going to accuse you of. Skeptics are going to say, well, it's just a placebo you're giving people. Mm-hmm. Honestly, placebos can only go so far, okay? I mean, yes, people have had placebo effects and maybe done incredible things, but I don't think anybody's going to get a severe enough placebo effect to go, oh yeah, let's cure everything, and then start paying $89. I think they're going to have a real general effect, especially when you get serious health conditions like Lyme disease. Yes. They're going to have to notice something really majorly different, and obviously you've been doing this for so long, people do.
Yeah. That's our track record. We probably have 3,000 testimonies on our website. So that in and of itself is the beginning body of evidence. It's anecdotal now, but it's still evidence that something's working. By the way, I want to make this very clear. On account of the fact that this is a new science, there is no protocol for this.
Right.
There's no way to prove or disprove what I'm doing. Now, keep in mind, if I'm working with scalar energy, and I'm one of the few people in the world that has a scalar energy instrument, then I'm one of the few people in the world that can prove or disprove that scalar energy exists.
Yeah, well, that's been the problem. I mean, people try to replicate Tesla's experiments and what he was trying to do with wireless energy, and nobody's really done it. And I think it's because they're just an electromagnetic field. They're not moved into that 0-point energy.
Exactly, and this is why so many research groups are at a dead end. They don't realize that there's two energies, and they're using electromagnetic theory to try and prove or disprove scalar energy theory. They're two different theories.
Well, I mean, again, electromagnetic is point A to point B. It has antenation. It has to go through things.
Yes.
It has a signal display. You look at Wi-Fi. You're like, oh, I lost signal. When you're talking about scalar energy, there's no distance that it can defy it.
Yes.
And that's hard for people's mind to grasp.
Yeah.
You're bending space time. I mean, you're talking about faster than the speed of light.
You're right. When I was studying with the Hieronymus family, frequently they would take a photograph of a star and place it inside the instrument. And then they could pick up the signal of the star instantaneously. Now, if that was electromagnetic energy and the star was 100 light years away, it would have taken 100 light years, 100 years for that waveform to arrive in our laboratory. No, it was an instantaneous communication, and the Hieronymus family was able to get an instantaneous readout on a star. Why? They're working with instantaneous action, scalar energy.
I mean, this is the same deal why people could remote view. They're tapping into this. All information would be lying there. This is the core of the matrix, basically. Yes. We're talking about. This would be the ultimate. I guess if you had if we're all just a hologram, this would be the projector.
Yes, exactly.
I'm trying to get at the idea of what it is. It's something I've grasped with trying to understand it in my simple brain. Of what scalar energy is, 0 point energy, radiant energy, because again, it defies all known laws of physics that we understand when it comes to, the speed of light. I had a kid I work with, and I love this kid. I mean, young, good-looking guy. He's not stupid, but he just realized the other day that light traveling from stars, you're looking at something like if a star is 68 million light years away, you're looking at it 68 million years ago. Like, he just realized that the other day. These kids aren't being taught this stuff very well in school. A lot of people, and I was just like, oh, yeah, exactly. Basic science information. They don't even care in school anymore, I guess.
Isn't it a shame we've lost, the past 100 years of this suppressed technology? In order to suppress Tesla technology, you have to suppress so many things. And the media is part of that. The media and the Illuminati work hand in hand.
Well, I mean, go and watch network television, and you can play a game. How many Pfizer commercials am I going to get per episode of what I'm watching? Just wait, see how many you get. Play a game. 5 Pfizer commercials. I'm saying they there's a reason. Follow the money.
Exactly. It's so simple. Follow the money. And that's the driving force with so many of these people. It's quite evil. Let's just be blunt about it. People are suffering around the world and dying, and you're indifferent to that, and you'd rather just concern yourself with your pleasure and your finances.
Oh yeah, I mean, heck, I had another toenail removed. Jamie's nickname for me is Puffy Toe Jason, because I've had so many problems with my big toes.
No, that was Todd.
It was Todd that came up with that? I thought it was you, or whatever. Resident a-hole Todd, remember him? When I had it removed, they told me that, oh yeah, we can help this time, so we have to do it again. We have a fungus nail thing we'll put on it to help your toenail grow. I'm like, oh, how much does that cost? Well, generally, the original medicine that we want to use is $1,000 a bottle. Like, okay, no. Like, they're like, well, we're going to get it to you cheaper. I'm still waiting to find out what that cheaper is going to be. It's got to be a lot cheaper than $1,000 a bottle. Look what they charge for all these medicines. I mean, it is a money industry. They're practicing medicine on you. They don't know what they're doing. They're just practicing.
Yeah, they really are. And if we look back now, we've had this pandemic for 2 years. I'm going to preface my remarks. I have
very carefully, because we know how YouTube likes this conversation.
I have high regards for the medical community, but after the past 2 years, there have been many, many mistakes. And,
the mistakes made because of political forces
around the world have been making many, many mistakes.
Well, yeah, I totally see it. And you hear nurses. Listen to the nurses that work in this, that witness this stuff. You'll see. Yeah. But that's the thing. Something's going on in the world, and it seems like people are waking up at the same time people are also falling asleep. It's like there's certain, there's us here, we're watching, we're waking up that something's not right. But more people are just like, give me the next, they got an anti-aging vaccine now. They got a vaccine for this. It's like, okay, slow down. Slow down, people. Like, I'm not saying science is amazing, medical science is amazing, but let's not open Pandora's box before we know what we're getting into. Let's just take a time, and there's a reason why they research these things for years and take their time. Just be careful. Science doesn't solve everything. Science can create nuclear bombs that cause bigger problems. Right. We have to remember, it's Pandora's box. We can get great things from it. We also get destructive things from it, and things can go wrong. People make mistakes. Nothing's perfect. So, again, they're practicing medicine on you. Do your research, listen to your doctors, get their medical advice, but open your mind to other possibilities, and yours is one of them. Again, a 15-day free trial. People can try it. I'm going to give it a try. I'll get on there. I'll give you my picture. I'll sign up, and we can come back to having you on, and we can see if anybody else here in your chat room you want to try this 15-day free trial. We can have you back on and see what people felt, if they got an effect from it.
Yeah, please.
I think a couple people have signed up for the trials so far.
Okay, thank you. The trial is our way of introducing it to the world. This is new. I don't know of anybody in the world that is doing this, frankly. So how do I get this message out there? By podcasts like this. Obviously, mainstream media is anathema to this subject.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how do we convince people? By the 15-day trial. Now, most people feel better after the 15-day trial. That's the key. Does this work? I'm all about results. And most people say, yes, this is of merit.
And that's what I'm saying. We can have you back on after people have tried, and
please.
I know these people come in and watch, and they can call in. And I do. By the way, I forgot to mention Tom's gonna be leaving us here at the next commercial break. But the phone lines are open if you want to. Anybody who wants to call in, they have a dire question you want to ask Tom. Be respectful. If you have a different opinion, we understand that. Sure. But call in if you have a question for Tom. In the next few minutes, I might be able to fit in a call before a commercial break. So the website is scalarlight.com. They can go there, sign up for a 15-day free trial, and when they do this, you say you do the nutrient thing. What is it like? Kind of like a basic thing you do with the 15-day trial?
I'll explain. When people upload their photograph, now you can include family members and pets. If you have pets, remember to include your pets, because you'll see an improvement in the health of your pet, your dog or your cat or your horse. Now keep in mind, your pets are not familiar with scalar energy, and there's no really placebo effect with them. They don't realize they're being treated. I work with pets around the world, and I see a sudden improvement within the 15 days. And people say, well, so there's something here. My dog is now frisky. My dog feels a lot better. So that might be an indication. When you sign up, when you send us your photograph, include your email address, we'll send you daily email notices. We'll explain to you the process. And then after 15 days, we allow you to make a decision. We don't force that, obviously.
Well, yeah. People are going to decide, did it work? Was it worth it? If somebody starts really having a condition and feels much more amazing, then they might sign up for a subscription like that. Yeah. I'd like to try it and see. I don't know if I have a pathogenic problem. I hope not. I haven't been sick in 2 years, knock on wood.
Now, you mentioned a foot fungus. Is that accurate?
Well, I've had my big toe on both feet had problems. I wash my feet all the time. But I had a toenail, first one get infected, and then the other one didn't. I've had them both removed, and then had to have this one removed again. And so they're trying to because it grew like that. So they're trying to give me a medicine that's worth $1,000 a bottle to put on it so it grows right. Nobody wants to hear about my toenail fungus. Ooh, but I did that to myself. But I'm just saying, the medicines they want to give us for everything. I'm saying people take your medicines, do your thing, do your research. But again, there's other possibilities. There's things we are not yet tapped into, and I've always been fascinated by scalar energy. For me, when I first heard about you coming on the show for healing, my only knowledge of it was really in the field of, I guess, spirituality in a sense, but also anti-gravity. I've always been fascinated by anti-gravity and what Tesla could have maybe discovered with scalar energy or zero-point energy, especially when it comes to the realm of UFOs. Like you said, a ship flying around with no G-force, that's exactly what we're seeing when we see a UFO. Right. And one question I know you might not like, because I had somebody that did remote healing with a device. I forgot what it was, some quantum thing, whatever she did. And she got really mad at me for this question. But I'm like, well, you're remotely healing somebody. can this, you're able to do these things, like read them or remotely healing. I have to ask the question, because there's this inner mad scientist in me, can this be used for negative? Can somebody use a scalar energy device and do something negative to somebody?
Yes.
Because we're talking about the Havana syndrome. Just recently, we were just talking about the Havana syndrome on our news break, and like, they don't know what it is. They can't describe it. They can't figure out what's doing it. They can't find electromagnetic stuff going on to cause it. So,
yeah, to answer your question, yes, scalar can be used for good or evil. And for that reason, I guard this technology. I won't release the schematics because I don't want this to fall into the hands of the cabal, frankly.
It might already, though. I mean, if they keep their secrets, doesn't mean they ignore them. Yeah. They use it to their own ends secretly to do stuff, and it makes you wonder. I mean, look at researchers in the UFO field. So many of them, there's so many that fell to cancer. I mean, what could they do with this that could cause people, to get sick? Maybe that they'd want it off. What a way to assassinate somebody from a distance and nobody know and have no way to stop it. It's a scary thought.
You're right. It's the energy carries with it an incredible responsibility, and I
just really, like the Force.
You're darn right. It is the Force.
Yeah, that's what I honestly believe about it. Why I've been fascinated by it, is that I have a belief, a spiritual belief that the world is fueled by this force, this God force, or whatever you want to call it, that fuels everything, and it's no time and space is a part of it. It's instant anywhere. That's how people can remotely heal people with, or heal people not remotely with their hands. Do all incredible things. I mean, I believe the sages throughout the ages, like Jesus and Buddha, and these people tapped into this energy with their own mind.
Yes.
I mean, it's literally breaking the matrix.
Yeah. It's the game changer we want. Let me just make this very clear. Scalar energy is free energy. And thus, in application, whether it's for quantum health or anti-gravity or energy generation or telecommunications, it fundamentally addresses the issue of scarcity. Any economic model, that's an impediment, scarcity. Well, with scalar energy, the energy of the stars, there's no scarcity. And if you don't have scarcity, you have an entirely new economic model.
Yeah, I've always said, people are like, well, my mom's always brought up to me when I talk about, oh, dang, socialists. She's like, well, aren't they socialists in Star Trek in a sense? I mean, they have this utopian society where nobody cares about money anymore. I'm like, they have the technology to get there. They have replicators. They have transporters. Exactly. They don't have an economy that could make money because everything is free energy. It's obsolete because of the technology. That's what I always point out about Star Trek. There's the only reason they're there in that utopian society where everybody pursues their own ideal and life and whatever and do whatever. No money's not a factor. It's because of free. It's exactly that. Free energy, free replication, free resources. That just there's no economy if you have that. So it's got to be something else. Will we survive? I don't know. Tom, it's been great having you on. I definitely, like I said, people try out his 15-day free trial, scalarlight.com. That's SCALAR light.com, you sign up for a 15-day free trial. Tom, it's wonderful having you on. Like I said, we get you back on again sometime in the future.
Please.
And we have people call in and see what they experienced.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to go to our commercial break, and then we're going to do open lines for a little bit. We'll see how many of you guys call in. We might not make it to the whole 3-hour show. We might end early if I don't get enough phone calls, but call in. Decide. Remember my topic of discussion, that show Upload. It was on Amazon Prime a while back ago. If you've seen it or not, would you upload yourself to a virtual heaven? Or do you want to meet your creator? Question for the night. I think I know a lot of people's answers on that, but let's discuss amongst ourselves. Would you upload yourself to a virtual heaven? When we come back from the short commercial break.
Conducting an experiment into the combined effects of sensory deprivation and hallucinatory drugs. The subject of the experiment is himself. And the experiment is out of control. Ken Russell's Altered States, a film that must not be missed, is in the West End now. Altered States, Certificate X.
Do you wish for more paranormal and spiritual content? The Paranormal Chronicles magazine is a free digital magazine crammed with the very best in paranormal and spiritual articles and features. No sign-up, no subscription, just free reading and knowledge for you. Read today at www.paranormalchronicles.com/magazine.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Paranation Magazine is a new paranormal magazine based out of Denver, Colorado. Our goal isn't just to give you the best paranormal content out there, but to promote paranormal unity. We're doing this by giving everyone an opportunity to tell their stories and to share their experiences. For more information, follow us on Facebook at Paranation Magazine and soon, paranationmag.com.
I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is the extraordinary travels of a young, alone, and broke psychic in the highly anticipated new book from internationally renowned psychic, medium, medical intuitive, and best-selling author Sherry Dillard. Critics have described I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like as an engrossing memoir, an empowering story of how a broken girl came to accept her psychic gift, a refreshing and fun read. I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is available through Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, and wherever books are sold.
Edgar Allan Poe wrote Spirits of the Dead with a pen dipped in warm blood. You will see the ultimate in terror with this important all-star cast. Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda in Edgar Allan Poe's Spirits of the Dead. Only Poe's demented genius could bring to the screen such horror and evil. Spirits of the Dead stars Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda. Directed by three masters of the cinema, Federico Fellini, Louis Malle, and Roger Vadim. Spirits of the Dead is an adventure in terror beyond your wildest nightmares. Spirits of the Dead in color is rated R.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. offering is the truth, nothing more.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest was Tom Paladino. He joined us for an hour interview there. I see him still in the waiting room. I don't know if he's hanging out or not. I know he's in the waiting room right now. If he wants to hang out, Tom, we're taking phone calls. You can call in tonight, though. Otherwise, it's open lines. Call in, tell us your story. I saw Ryan in the chat room there says he has a great photo of a cigar UFO. Yes, I would like to see it. Now, Jamie said you can send it to me in Messenger. I don't know if I have you as a friend or not. So if not, and anybody else with a UFO photo tonight, yes, I would love to see it. I do have an email you can send it to, and if you tell me to check, I will check in the email. But the email is paranormalsoup@gmail.com. That's Paranormal Soup, the letter J, my last name, Bland, B-L-A-N-D, @gmail.com. You can always email it to me there. I am bad about checking my emails, I know. I get a lot. But you can send it to me there. Let me know in the chat room. I'll check it. I'll get it to Rob in the Dropbox, and we can share it and look at it. All that wonderful UFO goodness. You get UFO photos I want to see. Somebody sent me some good ones recently to that email. I'd love to know more about their experience before I actually share it. They didn't really give me much of the story behind it, but they were some amazing photos, so I'd like to hear more. But anything goes tonight. It's open lines. I think our guest is still hanging out in that waiting room, so if he wants to hang out, that's cool. If he wants to take phone calls, you can call in. But let's go ahead and get back to the show. You can still hang out with us, Tom?
Yeah, we'll spend another 20 minutes. Why not?
All right. So if you guys have a question tonight for Tom, because we didn't get to towards the end, you can call in and ask. And otherwise, it's open lines as we go from there. Yeah. So I say I love it when I get to convince a guest to stay on. It means it went good. An hour at a time. When I started doing this show, I did it 2 hours long, and I'd always be. And I started with a radio network. Eventually, I was on a radio network. I had me do a commercial every half hour, and I was like, man, I cannot get the conversation through in an hour and a half or 2 hours. So I started doing 3 hours. I know it's late, but yeah, hang out. We'll see. Jamie and Rob, I'm waiting to hopefully come back. But yeah, I do want to check and see if I have. So you've got UFO photos, send them on in. I definitely want to see. Now, on the alien side of things. You think the aliens had to have tapped into scalar energy, right? I mean, were there, a Type 3 civilization or?
This is my belief of aliens. I look at their activity and it's evil. Many encounters.
Your abduction, yes.
Yeah, many encounters with these aliens is just pure evil. So I would consider in many of these instances this is a demonic influence. Now, what type of technology is this? It has to be scalar. Now, how could you make a 90-degree angle turn in a spaceship while traveling at 5,000 miles per hour? That you're overcoming gravity. So those are anti-gravity instruments. Yes.
Huh. See, and that's. I mean, I've seen people all try to tap into electromagnetic devices for anti-gravity, but obviously that's them. Not tapping into the full potential of it. I don't know if Rob's back. Rob, I am getting the pictures from Ryan, and I didn't send them yet to Dropbox, but I sent it to Rob on Messenger if he can make that work.
I just got my headphones.
It's the quickest way. Can you show them from Messenger, Rob?
Is it the last picture you just sent me?
Just 2 pictures I sent you, but yeah. This is from Ryan in the chat room. Now, let's see, the reason I said that, when I was 16 years old, I saw this thing. It was only about 600 feet above me. All right, went downtown Michigan City where I live with 4 other people were outside. We're all standing around, 16-year-olds smoking cigarettes. We shouldn't have been. And up late, it was 11 o'clock at night or whatever for us was late. We were all getting ready to end the night. And this huge thing just goes, I got a feeling. I got this weird feeling. There wasn't no sound that it made, but I got this weird feeling in my body. And something just told me to look up. And as I did, this thing just started to go right over my head. It was like the scene out of Star Wars when the Star Destroyer goes over your head, over the screen. That's what it was like. And it had no lights, and it was cylindrical. like that, like, you know, what this guy's talking, he saw or has a picture of, but it was cylindrical, but it was huge. I could see, like, not like, almost reminded me like Alien, the movie. You know, they're kind of long, narrow ship, the Nostromus. Sure. You know, I've ever seen Alien. It kind of reminded me of that, the way that it had like these jigsaw kind of like pieces in it, in a sense. It went silently over our heads, downtown Michigan City, kept on going. And then half the people I was with, there's only one of them that really like could keep that in their memory. The other ones are like, oh, I kind of remember something weird that night or saw something. Like, how can you not remember that? Like, that was crazy. You know, so there's a lot of weirdness involved in that I still don't understand. But when I saw it, I'm like, there's no way that's our military. There's no way that's our technology, because that thing is so massive. How could anything hold it up and let it just float like it's a balloon? It wasn't a blimp. You know, I would recognize it. All right. Oh, here we go. I know we get the best zoom in on this because he's getting this from a photograph on here. I don't know. Are you able to zoom in on that at all, Rob? This is from Ryan. I don't know if Ryan wants his original text. I'm trying to find. Oh, here. This is what he said. He said, "Too bad I can't post a photo in here. I got a good photo of a cigar-shaped UFO." So this is his first photo he sent.
I don't know if he was going to call in, perhaps.
Oh, it'd be best if I took the phone lines off. Do not disturb. Yep. All right. Phone lines are now open. I'm so sorry, people. That was my bad. Somebody was trying to call in earlier. I had like 6 phone calls during the show. If I haven't said the phone lines are open, there's a reason why I'm not answering. But they are open now. I'm so sorry. The phone lines are open. All right. Let's see. This is the other one. This one you can see like the cylindrical shape. So I'm guessing it started out a light in the sky that they saw, and then it took on a cylindrical shape. Oh, I got Zach calling in. He'll have a good question for you, Tom. He usually does. As soon as it connects here. Hey, Zach, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. How you doing?
Doing good. I was hoping like you'd be able. I should have gave more time during the interview, but Tom loved it, so he stuck around. So I'm sure you have a question for Tom tonight.
Yes, I just have one question tonight for Tom. I'll keep it nice and short. So, Tom, I was listening to some of the stuff that you were saying on this one, and especially like hearing some stories about like people that have been cured of herpes. I mean, I'm one, you know, that unfortunately has, you know, herpes of the north. Thankfully, not herpes of the south. So,
Herpes of the north. I'm not familiar with herpes and know what's going on with that.
Probably his mouth.
Oh, gotcha.
Oral herpes.
Yeah,
herpes of the north. Okay, gotcha. I'm like,
let's just say that I made out with a lady that I should not have been making out with. wrong time to do that. So anyway, unfortunately, that's now a lifelong regret that I have, and unfortunately, I suffer from it. Thankfully, not now, but anyway, my question is, what is, from a lot of these testimonies, what is the measurement that a lot of these people that have come to you, what is really the measurement that they claim to you to determine if they've been cured of herpes or any other ailment?
Yeah, very good. It has to be a PCR test. You know, we're going to the medical community. I when conducted properly and when interpreted properly, I believe in the PCR test. So people, after I work with them with a scalar light instrument, they'll invariably have a PCR test for herpes or HIV. And if those tests are conducted properly, invariably those tests come back no viral load, whether it's herpes, HIV, Epstein-Barr, etc.
Okay. All right. So that was pretty much the only question that I had on that one. So, Tom, thank you very much for answering my question. I greatly appreciate it.
All right, Zach. Well, thank you for calling in, bud.
Absolutely, brother. And trust me, if I do have an outbreak, I just ask that please don't kiss me. So,
oh, hey, what about my question of the night? You know, did you ever see that TV show Upload?
I have not on this one, but frankly, I don't want to upload myself into a fictitious universe where Mark Zuckerberg is God.
The metaverse. Yeah, because that's probably the person that would have it. You know, like I said, if you watch Upload, yeah, you ever seen that episode of Black Mirror, 15 million credits?
That's where the guy's on
It's like that, but no escape at all. Like that guy can't escape from it in his little cubicle. Well, in this, you can't escape at all. It's your complete reality. You have to pay for everything. You still have hunger. Why would they add hunger to the afterlife? This virtual afterlife, because they can charge you. They charge you for virtual meals. It doesn't cost them anything. It's a total nightmare. And that's what I picture. But people are talking about this. Look at Jeff Bezos trying to create this immortality. I think it's going to lead to that. I don't think it's going to lead to him keeping people alive longer. I think it's going to lead, we can't really keep the body alive longer. We're just going to put you in a virtual matrix.
And also, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but in the end and all that, I mean, he's at the end of the episode, he starts to become he becomes this conspiracy theorist to where he holds the knife right up to his neck and all this stuff. And in reality, I mean, he's part of the, 1% and all that stuff now. So, he's a part of their own agenda now, whether he recognizes it or not. The only difference is that when he was on this American Idol style show, he did something different in that he said, "I'll commit suicide right here on on live television." So,
who are we talking about? I missed something there.
That's the Black Mirror episode.
Oh, you're talking about the Black Mirror episode? Yeah, duh. I'm like, oh yeah, I made that reference and I'm forgetting about. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Being trapped. That was because he was basically there to push a bicycle wheel to make energy. So that's how far bad we could go, people. If we don't start looking into scalar energy. We're all in a bicycle farm factory.
Remember, just look up what happened at the end of that.
I haven't seen that. Don't end it. No. I haven't seen that yet. I want to see that. Everybody keeps telling me you got to see it. I got to watch it. It looks good. Don't ruin the ending, even though I pretty much have a feeling how it ends. Well, Zach, thank you for calling in, bud. You have a great night.
All right, everybody. Have a good night.
I see somebody else trying to call in here. Let's see. Hopefully, I saw a line came up, but then it didn't come up for me to answer it. If you're trying to call in, the phone lines are open. I have had a little hiccups lately with the phone lines, but this one called me. 249. Let me see if I can call this person back. Sometimes I can call him back and it works. Oop, I hit the ringer. Let's see. Yeah, if you call in, be prepared. I might call you back. Who do we got to just try to call in? Whoa. Okay.
Aliens.
Never mind. It was a possessed line. We're not going to take that one. Oh. It says, is this call excellent, good, or acceptable, or poor? I would say poor. Don't have anything else to say about that. But then somebody else tried calling in.
Did you make that creepy noise at the end, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It's a little creeped out by that phone call. But, yeah, people call in. We'll see. Like I said, I didn't know how long I was going to go with the show. It depends on how many call-ins we got. If I can get them to work. Here we go. Let me try this one. I think this is the same number. All right, who do we got on the line here? 412 area code.
It's Ryan Fusco.
Hey, Ryan, you're the one with the photo.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw your comment. So yeah, tell us a little bit of where you got this, how you got this one.
Oh, so yeah, I just moved here. Matter of fact, I sent you a couple other ones. I sent you a really good one of it sitting in the yard.
Okay, I'm going back to that.
I sent it to Jamie as well. But yeah, it's just sitting in the backyard, and I saw it go over the house. I was outside at the time. You see it sitting there?
Yeah, I'm going to send it to Rob right now. All right. Just send it to Rob.
Yep. Well. All right. So, yeah, but anyways, it first stopped. I was using a flashlight and a laser going back and forth.
Right.
All of a sudden, I seen a red light light up in the sky, and I moved my laser over, and the laser disappeared halfway up. I was like, what's going on here? And all of a sudden, this thing shows up. It was pitch black, and then all of a sudden, it disappears. I was like, can't see it. So I I pull up my security camera on my phone because it sees an IR, and sure enough, it's sitting right in the yard, right in front of me. So, and as soon as I pulled it up, it came in focus, like it was there, and it was black. So I started walking over to it, and as soon as I walked over to it, it disappeared. And I looked back on the security camera, and it was gone.
How big do you think it was, roughly?
It was probably at least 20 feet long. It was pretty big. The funny thing is, I had a video of it. That's how I got those photos to you.
Yeah.
But every time I went to go look at it, it would skip over it. It just skips right over the seconds. So it's a pain in the butt. But yeah, I actually tried to send you a GIF actually of the one you have me in the yard and you see the light up top. Yeah, that's from a video. So I have the GIF. I just tried to say I'll resend it to you guys. But yeah, I have a video of that coming in and everything. So, but yeah, I mean, I've caught in several. Yeah, I've caught in several things just with a laser and a flashlight. Pretty wild.
Well, I've heard people doing this. I've heard people that have had experiences where they shine lights, and it's not the light; it's the actual cylindrical thing there, right? I don't know if you can see your screen right now on the show, but yeah, the cylindrical thing here. This was it in your yard.
Yeah.
You don't think it's a bug zipping by and it's just catching the streak, right? You were seeing this on
No,
video.
no. That's staying still. And then the other one I sent you is it coming in? Actually, it's coming in. It's coming into the side. Yeah, it's definitely not a bug. I think it was like 21 degrees that night. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah,
either
I can
way,
see the snow on the ground. Duh. Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely wasn't a bug. But yeah, I saw it with my own eyes. It was pitch black. It was blacker than black. I tried to hit it with the flashlight, and when I hit it with the flashlight, it was like it gobbled up my light. It took the light away, which I've noticed a lot of times happens if there's something in the yard that shouldn't be there, like or in the trees. A lot of the times it's in the trees. It's pretty wild. I'll send you guys a couple other photos.
Yeah. So are you having like this isn't the only incident then? You've had other things.
Oh no, absolutely not. No.
Where is this at? No. Where are you at?
This is in Pittsburgh.
Pennsylvania. Okay.
Yep.
I swear some of the best calls of like weirdness I get are from Pennsylvania of some kind.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I just moved recently from a mine site. I used to live in a mine, and there was tons of stuff that happened there. I did a crazy investigation in Oklahoma, which was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, I think that was the audio coming through if you're playing the
Oh, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, I did a crazy investigation in Oklahoma and ended up bringing stuff back with me, long story short. But I got a couple photos of the entities I can send to you. They're pretty wild. They're pretty clear, too.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for sharing with us tonight.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's awesome. I always love that when I do open lines and somebody's like, I got a picture to show. We find a way to get it up here. And thank you so much for sharing your experience, too.
Absolutely. I'll message you guys the other stuff. So.
Yeah, definitely want to see it. And maybe on another open lines, we'll get you to talk more about it.
Awesome. Sounds good to me.
All right, Ryan. Have a great night.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
So you heard that, Tom. He had a picture there. You see that, or he said, the picture caught it, or the video caught it, but he could see it with his own eyes and was absent of light. It sucked in the light.
And that's not normal. So that has to be some type of scalar energy phenomenon that you can offset an electromagnetic wave. Now, let me say this. When I'm close to my instrument, if I hold my cell phone close to my instrument, the electromagnetic wave, so to speak, in my cell phone is I override it. So anytime I bring a cell phone or a computer close to a scalar energy instrument, it cannot function in that environment.
Because it's got a synchronized electromagnetic waves you're screwing up.
Exactly. So you can override an electromagnetic frequency wave with a scalar wave, yes.
So, that brings me back to something in the ufology. I mean, they talk about all the 1947 on crashes, or even the crashes even before, Cape Girardeau had it, 1941 it was. I mean, there's crashes that started to happen with UFOs around the time we're really putting a lot of electromagnetic energy out in our atmosphere. And some theories were that it started messing with the UFO's operation and made them crash. If they're using 0 point or scalar energy, that might make sense.
I'm gonna refer to the Philadelphia experiment. You're familiar with the Philadelphia experiment?
And the Tesla is rolling that too. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you remember during the Philadelphia experiment that we have an interpenetration. That is, the sailors penetrated the steel hull of the ship.
Right. They transfigured into it, or whatever.
Yeah, very good. Interpenetrate, transfigure. Now, why? Because that was a scalar energy event. What am I getting at? In my laboratory, I can break down the molecular bonds of a germ, of a microbe. So I'm changing the molecular bonds, the chemical bonds. Now, what happened during the Philadelphia experiment? For a brief moment in time, we changed the molecular bonds of the people and the ship. And what happened? The sailors interpenetrated into the ship. And after that scalar event, then we went back to a normal electromagnetic environment. And what happened? There were reports that soldiers were embedded or incorporated or interpenetrated into the ship itself. Now that can only be explained by a scalar energy event. So if the Philadelphia experiment is true and accurate, I believe it is, then that was a scalar energy experiment that showed you the misapplication of scalar energy and how the experiment went wrong.
Well, they were trying to build stealth. They were trying to make a ship not appear on radar, basically, and went way haywire. And I mean, there's the Al Bielek story of time travel and all that. I don't know. But if you're really getting into scalar energy, I get all things are out the window. I mean, literally, time itself could be manipulated.
Yes, you're right.
And people were phased through the ship in a sense. I remember. You hear the I don't know, the urban legends of the Philadelphia experiment of like a green mist appearing and the ship disappearing and then reappearing with these guys like this. You wonder what they tapped into.
Yeah, you could speak to that point. Tesla in Colorado Springs, when he was experimenting with his tower, many of the bugs and butterflies had a green halo around them. And that was
because he's transmuting through them the scalar energy around the area.
Exactly. So that green halo, if you will, that he experienced in Colorado Springs is probably similar to the green halo around the ship, around the during the Philadelphia experiment.
That's what I wonder. And I got an experience that reminds me of that. All right, who do we got on the phone line here?
Hello, this is Al from Korea.
Hey, Al. Good to hear you.
How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for calling in, man.
Yes, sir. I tried the other number, but the 260-4444.
Yeah.
But that one would not let me get through.
It won't let you. This is Google Voice. It'll let you do international, I think. I think the other one, the sideline, does not let do international.
Okay, question for Tom. I put this up on the bulletin board, but biblical miracles where people did stuff. Like there was one in the Bible where this woman had hemorrhoids and she touched Jesus' gone, and then she got cured. Could it have been something like what you're talking about?
Exactly. Yes, I believe scalar energy is a divine energy. I believe Jesus, if you listen to that and read that gospel passage, Jesus says, power has gone from me. Power has gone out of me. Power has left me, gone out of me. That was scalar power, yes.
Yeah. Yes, he did. And Jason, for you, sidebar, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, about being uploaded to a computer.
Yes.
I put some thought. I put some thought about this. It wouldn't be you. No matter
that's
what
my
you
question.
did, it wouldn't be you.
See, that's what I've always said too.
It would not.
That's how I see it.
And that kind of, because it could have all your acmates and your personality. You could upload Robin Williams to a computer. If they took all the films, just like they do with the
assimilation of Robin Williams. Yeah. See, in the show Upload, they actually show them zapping people with this ray. Maybe it's scalar energy. They zap people with this ray. They literally are disintegrated by it, or half their torso. Basically, it's their head they want to disintegrate, and it captures their consciousness and puts it in there. So they're trying to it's not a copy, it's the person. But everything I see, technology-wise, when they talk about this, I'm like, that's all just a copy of you. There's actually a company doing that. They're making digital virtual people based off of people's social media posts and everything they can gather about a person and try to build that personality as kind of a little bit like an AI that is replicating you and as an afterlife. And I see that happening. People make this virtual AI of their loved one, but it's not them.
But your
it's not
soul
it's not immortality.
You can copy it. You can try to copy it just like the animals, but
Or
you don't have that soul.
if it's a digital representation of you covering all your facial looks, I mean, is that scalar energy
But
in
it's
itself?
not you. You
Part
are
of you be
your
touching it?
essence. You are your essence.
All things
And
are out the
that's
window
not
when you talk
you.
about scalar energy,
Hey,
right, Bill?
you would not be able to catch the ghost in the machine.
Yeah. Oh, like
And that's the
Ghostbusters.
trouble.
Like, yeah. I've seen people claim
No,
it.
the
I've
ghost
seen people
in the
claim
machine.
it. Oh, Ghost in the Machine. Yeah, that's
it. Yeah. One other thing, I've been doing a lot of thought about this, about like when we pass. And one thing I was thinking is, oh, my wife's phone's ringing. Is it like a TV? Is it like a TV show? When you turn the TV off, is that you? Do you just go away like a program? Like you got a TV and you're watching I Love Lucy, and let's say you're the I Love Lucy, and then they turn it off. Well, I Love Lucy is going, light years away, is traveling, emanate. If another TV set, it would be able to capture it. But would that be you? Too much thought there?
Deep
Almost like residual. Would that then turn into a residual type energy?
That's what I'm saying. If there's a connected to your image, which your image is a holographic representation, this is all just a matrix. Who's to say it still isn't you? So deep thoughts.
Yeah. One more thing about the holographic. Yeah, that's actually kind of scientifically been proven. Well, they can't peer review it, of course, but just like Tom was saying, like it's a holograph. We're a holograph, and I really, really, really think we're in a simulation. I really do.
I've struggled with that one. I mean, and like, I don't think we're in the Matrix. We're all naked in some jelly thing, and they hooked us up to hoses.
Oh, no.
No.
But, yeah.
But
yeah.
I do think that, in a sense, we could be just a program running somewhere in some other universe. Sometimes I wonder.
That
exactly. That's what
I was
I'm thinking.
a little kid. That was my first
Me too.
thoughts.
Or we're just
Really?
we're just some entities out there, lucid dream. We're all its characters. I don't know. But
yeah, God, I've heard that. Are we God dreaming?
Yeah. Deep
okay,
thoughts.
sir, I'll take that. And Tom, thank you very much, sir, for answering the question.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Is he still there?
Yeah,
Yes,
he's still there.
You're welcome.
Oh, sir. Okay, take care, everybody.
All right, Al.
Tashi poop, as is saying in Korea, Tashi poop shida.
Al from South Korea, you have a great night. Yeah, I think if you're internationally, call in. The 230-4444 won't let you, but I think the Google Voice line will let you, or of course Skype will. You can call in on the Skype lines too, which I got running down here below, but people listening on the radio, 219-230-4444 is, I think, more the local line, American line you can call in. The 260-2, I see, I get this last one messed up. 260-225-9419. Got scrolling across the screen. That one I think you can call in international. Skype IDs, of course, JBland 00 or JBland Paranormal Soup. Call in on those internationally. I don't think we have an issue with that. So one thing I've wondered about scalar energy too, Tom, is it, I mean, everything's connected, everything's one. I mean, people talk when they pass away. Or they have a near-death experience, not when they pass. We don't know what happens when they pass away. When they're near-death experience, they talk about the light at the end of the tunnel, or returning to the light. Light is probably number one thing. I mean, everybody has different experiences, but most common is this light at the end of the tunnel. What do you think the connection is to that, to the scalar energy?
That's great. It's a tunnel, correct?
Right.
That's a scalar wave. Why is it white? That's scalar energy. So, and it's a circulating tunnel, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's
what
a
it's
scalar
described
wave.
as.
You're entering into that dimension. You can call that a wormhole. You can call that the intersection. But the swirling tunnel is a scalar vortex. That's the point.
See, so in essence, I mean, the afterlife is scalar energy, right? You're existing in the scalar energy realm or dimension.
Yes, I've often said there is a heaven, and it's 100% scalar energy. And you're perfect in that environment. When you're in a scalar energy environment, you cannot die. That's why the blessed in heaven are immortal. You cannot be sick. It's perfect coherence. It's perfect intelligence. You're perfectly happy. You have a super intelligence, so to speak, and you're in that state of bliss. That's a perfect scalar energy environment. That is heaven.
And as a paranormal investigator, we use a lot of equipment that tries to measure what? The electromagnetic spectrum.
Right.
Which I've always said is got to be just what did I try to compare it to in the past? Basically, we're using devices to measure the effects of another energy, because it's just the after effects of what we're trying to measure. It's not. That's why we can't get any scientific actual data with it.
Right.
Because it's only touching the tip of the iceberg of what a spirit is. It's an after effect of their being or presence, but it's not them. The electromagnetic energy isn't them.
Yeah. That's a good point. And that's why you see a lot of these UFO ships. They cannot be detected many times. Many times they're invisible to radar. This man Grebennikov, when he was on his anti-gravity platform, he became invisible. So it's a different physics. It's not electromagnetic physics.
Well, I mean, I talked to just recently, and we were mentioning this on the show last week. I play Star Wars Squadrons. I'm a geek, but I have a squad mate on there who is a French pilot, retired now, but he flew during the Belgium wave in Belgium and flew and encountered a triangle UFO that was like 300 meters long. Basically this thing was pretty big. And he got within 500 meters of it, but he said, it was translated because he only speaks French. What was translated to me that none of their instruments could read it. It wasn't on radar. His missile locks couldn't lock onto it. His instruments started to fail. He had to break off from it. And again, if they're using scalar energy, all that would make sense.
Yeah, you're right. Many people, when they fly into the Bermuda Triangle and they experience that vortex, if you will, that's when
there's a famous case.
Yeah, that's when their instruments start to fail. Now, remember, my instrument fails close to a scalar energy device. My cell phone will not work. And that's to speak to the point that when you're in a different environment, a scalar energy environment, electromagnetic instrumentation will fail. It will not it cannot operate in a scalar energy paradigm. And this is why many of the pilots who have flown into the Bermuda Triangle, they report that their instrumentation starts to fail. A plane cannot function in a perfect scalar energy environment.
Do you think nature creates these, what would you call it? Like I picture it like a warp bubble, because when you mentioned Bermuda Triangle, there's a famous case of a guy who traveled a distance through a tunnel in the Bermuda Triangle, like a tunnel that formed. He was with his father and some other people in the plane, and they traveled through, and they made it to their destination with way more fuel than they had and less time than they should have. So they warped time. So is it like a field of energy created even in nature?
Yes, it is. And you'll see that sometimes even in a very violent tornado. The aftermath of a tornado, say an F4 and F5 tornado, sometimes you'll see two objects fuse together in the aftermath of a tornado. Meaning what? At that very precise moment, it was such a powerful scalar energy force field. Remember, a tornado is rotating. It's a scalar energy tornado. At that very precise moment, two objects will lose their physical rigidity and then interpenetrate. After the tornado subsides, those two objects remain fused together, interpenetrated. You'll see that in many cases of very strong tornadoes or hurricanes.
Now, I wonder, when we get on the other topic, of scalar energy and the afterlife, we do, once in a while, we had one. I just got done with the last editing of a video call. Sorry it took so long. I just finally edited the last episode. But once in a while, we do a show called ITC Spirit Box Night. And we have devices, like apps pretty much, sometimes other stuff, but usually apps that are manipulated. The voices that are banked in there, we get voices that aren't in the bank. It basically manipulates audio. I've also, as a paranormal researcher, done EVP research where I get audio in a recorder that wasn't heard with ears that ends up in the recorder. So where I started out, and then I got into ITC, instrumental transcommunication. And it's always been the question, how are the spirits manipulating an app on a device to change the words or put voices in or record on on an audio recorder. I mean, a lot of times people thought it was magnetic when it was originally tape, audio tape. And then we got digital recorders, and it's like, well, it's not that anymore. And people have been questioning this. I've always been interested in, say it right, stochastic resonance, where you take two signals together, or two signals together create like a resonance. Harmonized, very similar in idea to taking two of the electromagnetic wavelengths and synchronizing them to get the field, but this is in a sense of audio. And stochastic resonance is one of the explanations for EVPs phenomenon appearing. That they're basically, because a lot of times when I get an EVP, it's not when there's quiet, but it echoes off. I feel like our voices or other noises. But it's like it's harmonizing the signal to resonate, or maybe harmonizing the recorder itself to resonate its signal to get a voice through. I just wonder if there's this energy and there's an afterlife and there's spirits trying to communicate using scalar energy. How would it affect devices? And you're talking about your cell phone with affecting scalar energy. Can the reverse be true? Scalar energy is going to affect an electromagnetic device.
Yeah. All right. Let me speak to that point. There's a man, Thomas Morey, who was able, lived in the state of Utah. He was able, with a scalar energy device, to pick up radio broadcasts at the South Pole from Admiral Byrd.
Ah, that's a famous case.
Now, what's the point here? Well, this is prior to the advent of satellites. So scalar energy can pick up sound waves from halfway around the world. Now, keep in mind, Thomas Morey, by the way, Morey was one of the few scalar energy experts, had the ability with scalar energy to pick up the voice, the radio transmission at Admiral Byrd at the South Pole. Meaning what? That scalar energy is interconnected around the world. In this case, the voice of Admiral Byrd.
And that's something that happened in the past. It wouldn't be like he'd pick up that signal, many years later.
Well, no, he was doing this during the time that Admiral
He was doing during it.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
During the
Gotcha,
time,
gotcha.
this is back in the 30s and 40s that he was
Okay.
experimenting. During the time that Admiral Byrd was in the South Pole. What's the point here? The point is scalar energy, if you will, would be able to find its way through the Earth. Now, keep in mind, there's no triangulation with satellites. So from Utah to the South Pole, Thomas Morey was able to pick up a signal, a radio signal. Meaning what? Scalar energy traveled through the Earth, so to speak, but it's an instantaneous communication, if you know what I'm getting at. The point being, when you're working with scalar energy, sound is everywhere. You can tap into any sound source. There is no time and distance. Meaning from Utah to the South Pole, there was no distance. Morey was able to listen to it in real time.
So, see, that I understand that, and I'm just trying to figure out how it could fit into how we're getting these communications, the manipulation, and or just a simple the EVPs, how scalar energy might be playing into that, especially if the spirit world or spirits are really just scalar energy. They're
Yes, you're right. Angels are composed of 100% scalar energy. You're right. Yeah.
Like I said, we get the electromagnetic effects, but that could be the after effect. I'm trying to fix my phone line again here in case somebody else calls in. Real quick, too, we got up on the screen right now. It looks like what you got the GIF from Ryan, from what he recorded off his security camera.
Yep.
I don't know. It's really small. I don't know if you can zoom in on that. See, I saw it playing a minute ago. There you go. Yeah, sadly, we can't get any bigger than that because he's playing it off his phone. Or off the messenger, I'm guessing.
I downloaded it, but yeah, it won't let me enlarge this one.
Trying to see it. Dang it. While I'm fixing my phone line. Oh, come on. I don't know. It's hard to tell because it's so small. I'll have to look at it Ryan. I'll look at that later and see if I can see what's going on in there. Maybe we can show it on another night. We get it bigger. I don't know. I'm telling you, with ring doors and all these security cameras, we're going to get a lot more stuff from people. There's cameras everywhere. We surveil ourselves, but it works out great for us. People want to see the footage.
See something
there.
It's right there. There it goes.
Trying to fix my phone line. Huh. But yeah, there's so many possibilities when you get into the scalar energy, 0-point energy. I mean, I've always said there's got to be a universal theory for the paranormal. Something to explain, like, because I call the show Paranormal Soup because I believe Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, aliens, chupacabra, goat man, all these different weirdness that people have seen and experienced there's one thing that connects them all, that explains it all, like why reality isn't what we materialize or think it is. When I was young, I got this concept really early, and I know people have heard my stories, whatever. But when you're talking about the green glow, reason I have like the green soup around me is one of the first earliest memories I knew was paranormal when I saw, I was like 4 or 5 years old with my cousin. We both saw a green floating head. Looked like the Wicked Witch of the West. And this thing came, popped through a wall, screaming and crying. And I was the one that heard the crying. My cousin did not, but he remembers it. I remember it. And this was a green floating head, looked like the Wicked Witch of the West, that flew around the room, scared the crap out of us. We ran and crawled out of bed, but it had this really weird green glow. That's why, like I said, I got the green goo back here, and we do the green coloring a lot for Paranormal Soup, because that was my first real, I know I had a paranormal experience, and I never forgot it. When I was a little kid, I believed Slimer could be real in the Ghostbusters after seeing that. I believed anything could be possible. Once you see a green floating head coming through the room, you realize people don't know what the heck's going on with reality. It's pretty much set the dynamic of the way I look at things. Oh, you're muted, Tom.
I'm listening to your stories. These are pretty incredible stories.
I got a ton. Lived a weird life.
You're right. When you look at these events, you cannot explain these events by way of electromagnetic theory. Okay, much of the paranormal is by way of the scalar energy paradigm, and this is why to this day there's such confusion. I'll give you, for instance, if you look at a quasar. Many scientists say, well, the quasar is behaving in a very erratic way. We just don't understand it. Well, you would understand it if you realize that quasars are giving off, broadcasting scalar energy. They're localized scalar energy points of vortical action. So the point I'm getting at is there's two definitions for reality now, an electromagnetic definition and a scalar energy definition. They're both real. They're both dimensions. And this is why even astrophysicists today, if you speak to them about a quasar, a pulsar, they say it's anomalistic. No, it's simply, it's not an anomaly. It's simply a scalar energy event. It's not an electromagnetic event.
Well, is it because, what it's doing electromagnetically naturally is, in a sense, creating a scalar frequency or wave. Basically, the quasar got the potential, like a tornado that you described, to create these scalar events.
Right. It's one or the other. You either have a scalar energy environment or an electromagnetic environment. There's two dimensions. There's two definitions for a reality. And once the world realizes that, this is going to be so easy. It's going to be so easy to define the terms, to understand nature finally.
It makes you wonder, how much, you look at the stuff that Nazis were experimenting with. You talk about the wonder weapon or the bell, the Nazi bell. If they were trying to tap into it early on, we had Project Paperclip, where we brought a lot of these scientists over, and technology disappeared, and this technology, you talk about like Atlantis and all these other civilizations had advanced technology like to build the pyramids, or literally you could with anti-gravity make those stones weightless if you had scalar energy technology back then.
Yeah. Have you ever heard about the castle that was built in in outside of Miami.
Yes.
Yeah, and apparently this man was a diminutive stature. He was rather short. Anyway, single-handedly, he built this castle, and many people say that he was using some type of anti-gravity in order to build this castle. They were blocks, huge blocks. They weighed tons, and he just didn't have the machinery there. He did not have any cranes.
Right.
How did he build this castle? Well, it had to be by way of a scalar energy or anti-gravity device.
And it had to tap into this. It would be something he wouldn't have like a bunch of heavy Tesla-like equipment to tap into this.
Yeah.
He had to found some kind of simple method.
It had to be a simple method. They called it Coral Castle.
Coral Castle. Yep, that's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah, Edward Leeds Scalen, and whatever he did was truly phenomenal, because one man, this one individual, could build this castle without pulleys, without cranes. How did he do it? How did he lift these heavy blocks?
Rob, have you been there? Coral Castle?
I would like to go.
I asked Rob because he's in Florida.
No, I haven't. I was planning a trip down there, and then I conveniently got COVID. So
yeah, that's what. I was planning a trip down to Florida, and then COVID happened and killed it. I'm still trying to hopefully plan another trip down there, and that's one of the places I've always wanted to see. Is Coral Castle, because that fascinates me. You know, this guy, this simple individual, tapped into something. He figured out some kind of secret to the universe to build what he did, and and there's so much evidence of this throughout ancient cultures. I mean, Pumapuka, you know, the way the stones are interlaid and how they move big stones. You look at Easter Island, and there's a lot of things that it seems like ancient civilization tapped into. That might have been just simple, that it's so hidden from us. We're missing some big principle of the universe and not getting it.
Yeah.
And then you look at people like Edgar Casey, who would, tap into something and know things remotely, you know what I'm saying, and know all this divine information, or like he tapped into universal consciousness. There's also the aspect of people or Jesus materializing things for people. The whole possibility spiritually is that people can tap into this and do Jedi-like things, crazy things, that would be Matrix-like Neo kind of abilities.
You remember the movie Rain Man? Did you see the movie Rain Man? Dustin Hoffman. Rain Man is it's a biography of a man by the name of Lawrence Kim Peake, and it is stylized, but there is a kernel to truth to this. Rain Man was able to memorize a book, and during his lifetime, this savant, Lawrence Kim Peake, memorized apparently over 10,000 books, 10,000 volumes memorized. And he had the ability, when he was reading, with his left eye, he could read the left-hand page of a book, and the right eye, he would read the right-hand page of a book simultaneously.
That's brain candy. It hurts just thinking about that.
Yeah. Now, I cannot memorize 10,000 books. That's not my gift. What is my point? This is a download. Call it an afflatus, call it a gift from God. Everybody has that ability, by the way, but we just haven't tapped into it. So what's my point? That's a scalar energy event. How, you're tapping into the holographic universe, the mind of God. How could one person memorize 10,000 books?
Yeah.
This is the potential. This is what we're missing.
Look at Edgar Casey again. One of the famous stories about him is how he could sleep on a book and then know everything that was in it without ever reading it, even.
This is our potential. I've always said everybody's a genius. We just haven't figured out how to get our genius, how to access that genius.
Then I don't know how deep you want to get. We're going to probably end the show here in a couple minutes, but on the side of people, because I've had my experiences with past lives, people being reborn, again, this is like having all this information inside of them and reliving this experience. How does scalar energy maybe play into that when you talk about rebirth and everything?
Well,
Deep thoughts.
If scalar energy is the perfect intelligence and it knows time and space are not impediments, then everything is interconnected. And this gives credence to the fact that you have intuition, or you have deja vu, or you have the gift of prophecy. The gift of prophecy, the clairvoyance, all of that calls to mind scalar energy. It's an information system. If you have perfect information, then you have the gift of prophecy or prescience. You have intuition, deja vu. That's the gift of prophecy, and it can only be explained by scalar energy.
See, that's one of the reasons I've always had fascination with time is I've had very vivid events in my life where I've seen before they happen. Yeah. In dreams, usually. I mean, that's how it comes to me.
Erratic way. We just don't understand it.
Oh, hello. Getting an audio.
You would understand it if you realize that quasars are giving off.
That was coming from you, Rob. I had to mute you. For some reason, the audio from the show is playing in here. But, you know, in a sense, you know, I lost my thought because of the audio. God, where was I? Darn it. Totally lost it.
What he was saying about the quasar giving off scalar energy.
You were. Right. It was replaying. It was you.
Yeah, I get it. A quasar is a scalar energy event, and it does not abide by time, so to speak. If you're in a perfect star, a perfect quasar, time is not relevant, because scalar energy, as it moves, as it rotates, so to speak, time moves forward. But if you're in a perfect scalar energy environment, you're not subject to that rotation or that movement of scalar energy. You're outside of time.
There's no A, there's no B, no beginning, no end. It's, consistent.
You transcend time. This is why I've always said heaven is a perfect scalar energy environment. You're not subject to time. You're outside of time. That's why heaven is perpetual. That's why you're immortal in heaven.
How does the Schumann resonance play into this too?
The Schumann resonance is a measurement of electromagnetic energy. I'm sure it's some, if you will.
People are really fascinated by it.
Yeah, it has to be a derivative of scalar energy. If all energy
that's what I wondered.
If all energy starts as scalar, then that Schumann resonance is a derivative of scalar energy. It's always fascinated me, how that Schumann resonance pervades the globe.
It might be the ultimate signal to figure out how to harmonize to open up the doorway to the scalar energy. Maybe. I don't know. I've always been fascinated, but I don't understand it. Tom, I want to thank you again for being on the show and sticking around with us. We're actually going to end the show early tonight because I don't think I'm going to have many other phone calls, and I want to make sure he already stayed a whole extra hour over. That's how good it was. Thank you, Tom.
Hey, thank you.
We will be back hopefully next Sunday with Muriel Ford Clark talk about afterlife experiences or near-death experiences. I don't know. I'm having a work situation that night, so I might be back next Sunday, or we might not be back for another 2 weeks. I hope not. Should have a show next Sunday. So check us out. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. But we're going to end the show a little bit early. Oh, that's the wrong song. Solid. Already getting the wrong song. It's like, don't end. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Paranormal Radio app, on Talkstream. Check us out there. Follow, subscribe. Thanks to everybody who donates on YouTube Super Chat, on Patreon. You find us on there, $2 a month, $5 a month, or even $10 a month. Donate on there. Help support the show and pay the bills for it. Check out Tom Paladino's website, Scalarlight.com. Go check it out. 15-day free trial. Thank you so much, Tom. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you hopefully next Sunday.